Board of Trustees meeting, and we'll start with our roll call.
Student trustee Ian Martinez. Student trustee Moore.
Here.
He is present. Trustee Acosta. Present. Trustee Kyle. Trustee Larson.
Here.
Trustee Rob.
Here.
President Sanchez. Trustee Van Allen.
Here.
Vice President Williams.
Here. And do we have any requests for AB 2449 remote participation?
Yes, Vice President Williams, we have a request from President Sanchez for emergency just cause to participate remotely.
And do we have a motion? Second. And is this a roll call vote?
Voice.
Voice vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, motion passes.
President Sanchez, do you mind testing your mic?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good evening again. We're going to start with a public comment on the closed session item. If there's anybody? Is there anyone listening? No? Okay, so at this time, we are going to step away to have a closed session on anticipated litigation, and we'll return after discussion. Thank you.
We'll be ready.
Welcome back to those that are just joining. We're coming back from a closed session with the board, and our closed session produced a move to reject and claim number 660285. And we now move into open session, where we will, if you can and able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Dr. Swan to lead.
Ready, begin.
I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. I skipped one, so we should have done the report out session. Again, the board moved to reject claim 660285. We're now going to the item 8, approval of the agenda. But before we do, we have a couple of request changes. Thank you, Bruce. So for the first one, we're requesting that we adjust the agenda to table item 15.4. We were going to have a orientation on new software for the board, but we've had some technical difficulties, so we're looking to table that. Additionally, we're looking to moving item 15.2 before item 10. So, yes.
I'm sorry, correction, President, or Vice President Williams, we requested 15.1.
Oh, is it 2.1?
You said 0.2.
15.12.
Oh, okay, 15.1. Thank you for the correction. Can we get permission with changes agenda
So move with the amendment, so.
Moved where? I'm sorry.
before 10?
Before 10.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, thank you very much. All right. At this point, we're going to be moving to public comment. This is the opportunity for the public to address the board regarding any items not on the agenda. Do we have any requests?
Yes, Vice President Williams, we have one request for public comment from Shalak Cabanes. Shalak?
Am I good to go? Thank you for your service. I want to highlight a night that I saw the other day that I think speaks exemplary for the Santa Cruz County Office of Education. And I appreciate the platform that the student trustees have, the due diligence that they've taken that platform with. The other night at the Computer Science Community Night, I saw students and parents completely engaged, enthralled, and interacting with each other. It was amazing to see what the COE does on hand and to see the access and visibility that the leaders in this role of you guys as trustees and our superintendent had there. Interacting with parents, interacting with students, and interacting with the different people who put on the displays. I'm very proud to be part of this community, and I'm proud to see the work and service that we do for our community. And it was a pleasure to be there. The science team knocked it out of the park. And again, the thing was set up in seconds, the families were in there and packed. And we had it broken down and everybody out of there by the time we were supposed to. But again, your leadership shines. Thank you.
Thank you. So as we stated, we are moving to our next agenda item for retirement recognition, and we'll leave it to Dr. Sabah to take it from here.
Thank you so much, members of the board, and to the amazing community who are joining us today. It's really bittersweet, as always, to be here to celebrate people who have made such a deep commitment to the County Office of Education in so many ways. We're going to be celebrating two amazing members of our team who have decided to retire from the County Office of Education in the middle of the year to make it as dramatic as possible. And we wanted to spend a few moments when I think about the years and years of service, these few moments to be able to uplift and thank them for their service. The two people we'll be talking about today are Lori Stewart and Leanne Reyes, and I'm going to be starting with Lori Stewart. I'd like to tell you a little bit about this amazing woman. Lori is retiring from the County Office of Education after 25 years of service as part of, well, at this point, right now, she is part of the Educational Services Department. But she actually started in the beginning of the millennium, in the year 2000, the beginning of the century, just to dramatize this. And she began working with the Regional Occupational Program, which is now we know as Career Technical Education, and she supported program implementation. She has had a variety of different roles working, supporting student events and academic competitions. She's supporting the New Teacher Project. In 2020, Lori took over the responsibility of supporting us with the COVID efforts, and she actually was the person that managed our COVID testing process here in this building. It was as you remember, one of the most difficult times for our community, for our schools, for our staff. And she played a key role in helping us make sure that people were safe, that people were getting tested, and to ensure that we were doing everything we can to allow people to continue working and students to be going to school. She is somebody who has a very special talent, which is to create spaces that help people feel welcome. And she has become kind of our activities extraordinaire planner. Activities planner extraordinaire. And she makes the best breakfast bar you could imagine, unforgettable potato bars, and just knows how to bring people together to let them, remind them about how they feel welcome and supported. And I recently spoke when we had a get together here, a celebration. And I spoke about how she really epitomizes the welcoming nature of our County Office of Education. And so we would like to take a moment to thank her for her contribution and service, and really to help us to expand the different services at the County Office of Education and by bringing people together and nourishing them. And that is something that I think of that word when I think about Lori's story. I'm going to ask Dr. Marcia Russell to join me to speak a little bit more about Lori. And then we're going to ask Lori to join us, and we'll continue the celebrating in just a moment.
Thank you. Lori is in the back of the room, loving every moment of this special attention. I want to say that in preparation for my remarks today about Lori, I sent a message to the entire team and asked them to describe Lori in one word. So I'm going to share those words with you now. My remarks are going to be filled with all of these words. Today we celebrate Lori and her more than 25 years of extraordinary service as our administrative assistant. Years marked by her generous spirit, dependability, and thoughtful attention to every detail. Lori has been welcoming, kind, and an inclusive presence. Someone who makes people feel seen, supported, and truly valued from the moment they walked past her desk. With her great sense of humor, joyful energy, and fun-loving enthusiasm, she has been a warm and engaging storyteller. She is a passionate and honest connector. She is a loyal colleague who brings people together with ease. And in conversation this week, Lori doesn't realize it, but she unwittingly shared her own one-word description. She said, "I am solution driven." Lori is indeed solution driven. While being solution driven, she is also supportive. She meets every challenge with care and confidence. She is always ready with a laugh, a listening ear, or a great food recommendation. Because as we all know, Lori is a true foodie. Above all, Lori's warmth, love, and kindness have left a lasting imprint on our organization and the whole Santa Cruz County community, and her impact will be felt long after her very well-earned retirement.
Thank you so much, Marcia. So we would like to welcome Lori up to the lectern. Just share a few words if you'd like to, and we're going to be presenting the retirement award. So welcome, Lori.
Thank you. I'd love to say a few words. The reason I stayed here for as long as I have, commuting from Watsonville to Santa Cruz every day, is because of the people that I work with and the work that we provide to the community and the students. I mean, it's been beautiful. A lot of times on the road over here, I would think, oh my God, why am I doing this? And then I would see on the other end who was waiting for me. It's beautiful people. So, thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of the County Board of Education and County Office of Education, we'd like to present this award to you for 25 years of loyal and dedicated service in education. Thank you for bringing so much warmth to the COE and to our hearts.
You're welcome.
So we'd love to take a picture with Lori here, with the board mind just joining us in the center, and so we'd be able to take a picture with Lori.
Can we use that one? Just smoke.
Look right here.
Good?
Yep, that's
Is
good.
that a good one there?
You got
This
it.
isn't quite wide enough to get the whole group, but I think I want to just.
Okay, all right.
Not right there.
Okay. Okay. You know, we've been enjoying celebrating Lori and also Leanne these last few days, and it has been amazing how much people have come forward to share how inspired they are by these two wonderful people. So now it's my pleasure to talk a little bit about Leanne Reyes, who's retiring from the County Office of Education after 22 years in education as our deputy superintendent. You know her well, and she has been such an important part of the work with the board, and of course, so much of what happens at the County Office of Education and as leading our business division. Now, throughout Leanne's career, she has held many leadership roles from assistant superintendent of business services in North Monterey County, chief business officer of San Lorenzo Valley Unified School District, and director of business services in Scotts Valley, and a variety of other roles where she has worked on finance, budgeting, facilities, operations, transportation, nutrition, services, bond construction, and always bringing so much expertise and integrity and a lot of fun and humor to her work. She is also has participated as a with CASBO and a certified business official, a mentor for FICMAT. She has received honors, including the AXA Region 10 Business Services Administrator of the Year Award, the North Monterey County Unified School District Leadership Award, and this year she received the California County Superintendent's Bass Star Award. Now, we know that Leanne started her journey in the business world, and of course found the error of her ways when she decided to go and come to education and bring that expertise with her. But that business background has really strengthened a lot of her understanding and helped us become a better organization in a lot of ways. I've had the opportunity to celebrate Leanne at the Star Award with her amazing family. I believe that Sydney and Sinclair are on the line right now, her daughters, and Enrique Reyes, who is a wonderful spouse to Leanne, is here in the audience as well to celebrate her. And so they're a beautiful family and really a good friend to me personally, as well as somebody who has been such a staunch advocate on behalf of students. And I have to remember from the very first time we had a conversation when I was trying to convince her to come work here at the County Office of Education, she talked about her focus on students and ensuring that the business side of our work was making sure that the spaces that our students inhabit and our staff inhabit were worthy of them. And I was so moved by that and inspired by that. And she often refers to that when we talk about different pieces. She is a champion for students and somebody who has been such an advocate for our mission, and she is going to be deeply missed. I would like to welcome not one, not two, but three people who are going to come speak about Leanne from our Business Services Department. Rebecca Olker, who is going to be our interim deputy superintendent. Melissa Lopez, who is our executive director of fiscal services, and also Michelle Kennedy, who is a business services administrator here at the County Office of Education. Please welcome the three of them as they come together.
Good evening and thank you. And before you start, I didn't finish your review yet. Well, it's okay. Like, apparently Melissa just got a promotion, so she. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's right.
So we're gonna say a few words. This is on behalf of the entire business department, the business managers. We just wanted to acknowledge everything that you've meant to us over the last few years. And our goal tonight is to not cry, saying that to you, Michelle. So we have used a little liberal license and asked, oh, thank you for that. We asked AI for a little help because, you know, what's life without AI? So I'm going to let Melissa kick us off and we will begin.
In an attempt to not cry, I will not look at you. Okay. So our poem is called Cheers to Leanne. 5 years ago, remember that time? A pandemic hit and you said, sure, I'm fine. You joined our team when the whole world had just shut down. On Zoom every day, this office a ghost town. The great retirement came and brought a challenge so steep. In a matter of months, we needed to find a dozen new peeps. We were nervous, worried, and undeniably perplexed. You stayed calm, took a breath, and said, we've got this, what's next? With 22 years in education, a knowledge so deep, in school business leadership, truly elite. Always making time to mentor the crew, with wit, humor, and style in all that you do. From manager retreats with agendas galore, to manager meetings, and then just one more. Business meetings, team bonding, the calendar's packed, yet somehow you kept us all calm and you kept us on track.
You preached open kimono, total transparency. Respectful honesty. Every new challenge was met with alacrity. Good is okay, but why settle for mediocrity? Painting parties where talent was highly debated. Beach day games and trivia, some shade may have been traded. Holiday luncheons, good food and big cheer, just don't bring pineapple anywhere near. Using AI to name the football team was quite a feat. Sax in the City was the team to beat. Drinks at back nine, now that was the plan, where stress disappeared with the first drink in hand. No looking, sorry.
From a trip on a sailboat in the Winchester House maze, you led us through work and some wonderful weird days. Mentor, leader, therapist, you were all of those things. While you wore many hats, the best one was queen. So now you retire, how rude we must say, but not before one final bash done our way. We'll laugh, we'll toast, maybe cry a bit, and then send you off knowing you absolutely crushed it. Because truly we're lucky. Though saying goodbye is hard, which proves that Pooh said to Piglet once, made us regard how lucky we are to have something so true. That parting feels tough because that something is you. Congrats, dear Leanne. Go relax, sleep in late. Just promise you'll visit. Just promise you'll visit. We'll skip chocolate cake. And everyone, on behalf of the business department, we are truly going to miss you, Leanne. And I say that from our hearts, from Stephanie, from Rebecca, Melissa, Mallory, Monica, and myself. And yes, poor Leanne, poor managers with the first letter of M. Now I walk around with a cup that says Kennedy. We love you dearly, but we wish you all the best. Happy retirement.
Right now, you join us up the lectern. If you wouldn't mind doing this, let's give a round of applause for Leanne.
Wow, that was, AI is pretty good. They got my allergies in there and my likes and my dislikes, and I'm really glad you got my comment that I tell them all the time, which is why be content with mediocrity? Stay on your focus. Our focus is kids, even here at County House of Ed. And you are right, I left the dark side at the right time. And I have never looked back when I came into education. It's the best decision I ever made in my professional career. It's been my immense pleasure to serve all of you as our board. You're a fantastic board. And keep up all the really good work that you do, always with you have student focus in mind, so I really appreciate that. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the fact that I have two children attending here virtually. I love you both, Sydney and Sinclair. I've tried really, really hard to be a good example for both of you, and I'm super excited with the successes that you're experiencing as young women taking on the world. And then again, of course, there's my other half out here who I sincerely love, and he's managed to stick it out 34 years with me, so I think we're about halfway through. We've got another 34 to go. You remind me of that movie first, yes. So I think you better just calm down. I also want to acknowledge that I see some of my dear friends in the audience, some CEOs from my past, and some friends of mine from Prunedale came down, so thank you so much for celebrating me this evening. Ferris, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be as successful and do as many things as I have since I've been here. If I didn't have your support to do that, I wouldn't have been able to be nearly as successful. And Lori, I love you too. Congratulations. We'll go get coffee together since we'll have time. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you all.
On behalf of the County Board of Education and the County Office of Education, we'd like to present this award for your 22 years of service in education. And for, I gotta make sure I can read it there, or you think you're president. And loyal and dedicated service. And thank you for being you. Thank you for everything that you brought to the County Office of Education. We are gonna definitely miss you terribly and wish you the very best in your next chapter. Yeah, well, why don't we take a picture with the board and then we'll get the friends first. Thanks. So board picture first and then friends come on up.
Right in the middle. You know where to go.
What if you're a friend? All right, that's perfect.
I'm coming.
Take one step down. You start-
I'm scared.
Maybe,
Yeah.
lopsided on that.
Now, why don't we come towards me a little bit?
Yes, that'll work.
And then Greg, why don't you get on the head on the other side of.
Okay.
Do you mind?
It is, we're the end, if you see it, Bruce, that'll be perfect. Thank you for,
How's that?
all right, look right here. Got it.
All
Let's
right.
do one more with the
Yeah.
friends and colleagues. And of course, family.
Family and friends of Leanne, come on up for the picture. We're gonna do the same thing with Lori as well. We're gonna have everybody come on.
I keep.
I knew you had my back. I was swerving a little bit, but then
I like that if they do anything, it's fun. No. Sometimes they just. They have solved. Oh, yes, you stay there.
Right here. Got it.
All right. Can we do the same thing with Lori?
Yeah.
All right. Lori, if you wouldn't mind coming up and friends of Lori and joining us over here.
Or were you here?
I just had my, oh, sorry. She said the word.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. I'm gonna have yours go after. Perfect. Look right. Looks
So we're not quite done, Lori and Leanne, the board would like to make a few comments about the two of you, so if you wouldn't mind waiting just a few moments.
Yeah, leave.
Good evening and congratulations to both of our staff members who are retiring. Want to give this little time to our board members to say a few words if they'd like, and we'll start at the end and see if anyone else would want to join.
Not enough time. Leanne, I was working at Scotts Valley School District when she was hired again. And through the time, a lot of different situations, we became friends. And I guess one of the best times was when she got some school buses from North County to save a camping program with the Girl Scouts. But anyway, you are going to be very much missed. My best feeling about you is your ability to translate educational finances into words that the common folk understand. I truly think that's a gift.
Just really quickly, I want to thank both of you for your tremendous dedication to the students in this county. And I'm just thrilled with your retirement. Ever since I started working, mid-20s, who are these people who retire? I can't wait till I get to retire. So I love watching people retire and see the moments, and I just hope you get to pursue all the hobbies you've thought about and all the travel you've wanted to do and coffee dates. When you just set up. So enjoy and congratulations.
Well, as a CalPERS retiree, I'll just say welcome. It's great to have you on the fun side. Let's see, just Lori, I need to say the words that Marcia shared, that your colleagues shared. It was just very powerful and moving and just so wonderful to hear, but everybody thought about you. That was tremendous. So sweet. Leanne, since the very first budget committee you were stuck with me on, or you were stuck with me. Let's keep that. I just have been so impressed, not only with your mastery of the material, but also your kind of leadership of the team and the staff, and then how you can infuse humor in tables of numbers is just a higher level of mastery. And for somebody coming out of budget and finance myself, it's always been impressive. So it's been a joy to work with you and to see the impact you have in the organization. So thank you.
Thank you all for your times. I mean, that was amazing what you guys have done for the county office of education. And I've sat back and looked at a lot, but you've all done is just amazing. So I just want to thank you all. And great job. Enjoy your time in retirement. That's it.
Lori, I know that you are a big part of why so many people love to work in this office, in this building, and that's something I've seen a lot of different workplaces, and it just stands out so much. And leadership from the top, but it's also the people who make it happen every day. And I just really appreciate you and everything you contribute.
And before I say, are you still going?
Yes.
Yeah. My apologies.
I've been involved in community organizing, small business, city budgeting, county budgeting, nonprofit budgeting, and just people wanting to get together and do something. And there's always a business side. No matter what you're doing, there's a business side to it. And if you don't take care of it, it'll usually bite you at some point, and if not, defeat your entire ability to do what you set out to do. And so when I get involved in an organization, it's very important to me that the business side is both competent, but also aligned with what the organization is about. And Leanne, competent and aligned just don't cover it with the degree to which you have so strengthened this office and contributed so much in both leadership and also, I just have to say, raw intelligence in dealing with these numbers and making them understandable to this board of lay people and to getting things. The epiphany for an accountant is when the numbers add up and you get zeros at the variances. And you have that compounded multiple times to manage education funding. And you do it so well with such aplomb and with so much willingness to make sure the rest of us understand it, because we, at least theoretically, have that responsibility to understand and approve the work that you and the superintendent are doing. And I have had such confidence. I do still read the budgets, look at them, but I do it with knowing it's probably going to be, it has been done right and it's been done thoroughly. And so I'm running out of good words to say. Thank you so much, Leanne. You are just such a fundamental asset to this community, and I wish you the best in retirement.
We're gonna hear from Abel.
Thank you. I just want to say and reiterate that Lori, you have been there since my day one. You've been very supportive. You've and encouraging, not only when it comes to working with the COE and our students, but also in, my personal life, my own personal well-being. So I just want to thank you for being that person, for being that support all these years. Definitely going to miss you and wish you all the best in retirement. And for Leanne, I also want to thank you because of the job that you do. I think because you do such a good job, it makes our job on the board easy. Thanks for keeping us out of trouble, for presenting in such a way that is easy to understand. And again, very appreciative of you and your work and everything that you've done for the COE. And I wish you all the best in your retirement as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Lori, I haven't had the privilege of working with you, but I feel like I know a lot about you after all the wonderful things everyone has had to say. I'll also say that I know as a role as an administrative assistant, you wear many hats. You make a lot of people look good. And thank you for doing it for so many years and with such love and passion for the students that we have and for your coworkers. And so thank you so much and just wish you all of the best and enjoy. Leanne, it's been a privilege and you do, I just will reiterate what everybody else has said, but you have such a way of putting things, very complicated things in layman terms for us non-financial wizards that make us feel comfortable and understand, 100 pages of financials and feel good about it. And thank you so much. Look forward to hearing about all of your adventures. You said you're not far, so, we're gonna be looking up, but congratulations and enjoy.
So much. May I say one thing? I skipped right over Lori, jumping right into Leanne, and I apologize, but I do want to say, this is a family, the COE, And from everything that was brought forth tonight from all your colleagues, I see why. And I appreciate it and wish you the best in your retirement. Thank you, and I'm sorry.
Williams, I wonder if I could make a comment that's slightly out of order with our agenda, which is about something in the consent agenda, but it's relevant. Could I do that before people leave?
Is it related?
Is it?
Yes, yes. There was a technical term that showed up in the two SBSAs that we had on our consent agenda, the plans. It's a technical term I hadn't noticed in those plans before. So I'll just read the phrase that it's in and people can make sense of it. We continue to have an awesome, supportive support staff ensuring the needs of our students are met. Awesome.
Awesome.
Staff, awesome. Okay, that's all.
We all.
I never heard that term before.
That's right.
It's good work.
Well, we want to thank everyone for being here in person and online to celebrate our two retired individuals, and we have a student trustee. Would you like to say anything?
I didn't know either of you very well, but thank you for helping education in your jobs. And I did know you a bit to teach us about kind of money management and stuff in the student trustee county, and very insightful. Thank you.
Denise, do you have an announcement?
Yes, we did have a request for public comment on this item.
Okay.
So if it's all right with community.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
It was.
Never mind, the public comment was withdrawn.
It's already-
Yeah.
already covered.
They say happy retirement. No.
Okay, all right. Again, thank you for being with us in person online to celebrate both Lori and Leanne. And let's just one final laugh. Enjoy your celebration. At this time, we're going to continue on with our agenda. Item number 10. Our annual organization of the board. At this time, California Education Code 1007 establishes the terms of office and governance and procedures for the county boards of education. In alignment with the term start dates, the board must hold annual organization meeting. And we elect a new president, board positions, and also the committees. So at this time, there is a set of, the first one at 10.1 is nomination for president of the board. And we will take nominations from trustees.
I would like to nominate Rachel Williams for president of the board.
I'll second.
Second. All right, voice or roll call or just voice.
So item 10.1 is nominations where they discuss, and once we get to 10.2, it's a motion and a second. That one is an action item and would require, it would be fine with the voice.
Are there any other,
So it would be entertaining this other.
So, when a nomination is that it's your opportunity, the person who's nominated has the opportunity to accept or decline and
then
provide any commentary if you'd like. And then, so it's really just about nominations.
Okay. Perfect. All right, thank you for the nomination. I'm honored for the confidence level, but I also would like to open up for any other nominations. Any other nominations? Okay. 10.2, election of board president. The board will motion and elect the president.
I move we elect Rachel Williams as our president.
I'll second.
I don't know. All of us. I can't remember if you said it was a roll call vote.
I can do a roll.
Okay.
Student trustee Amor.
Aye.
Trustee Acosta.
Aye.
Trustee Kyle.
Aye.
Trustee Larson,
Aye.
trustee Roth,
Yes.
trustee Van Allen.
Aye.
Vice President Williams,
Yes.
President Sanchez.
Yes.
Congratulations, President Williams.
Thank you again for the level of confidence. Forward to working with everybody even and more. At this point, we're gonna go to 10.3 nominations for vice president, and we will be taking nominations. Yes.
I would like to nominate Greg Larson as vice president.
Thank you for the nomination, and I accept elected.
Have any other nominations? Okay, then we have a motion.
I would like to move that the board appoint Greg Larson as vice president.
I'll second.
Okay, we can.
Elect.
And I've been told we can just do voice votes for these offices. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Congratulations, Vice President. Okay, we are looking for other committee appointments. Appointment of chairperson county committee on school district organization.
I'd like to move past President Abel Sanchez.
Second.
Okay, first and second. All those in favor of
Do you accept?
Sanchez? Oh, he has to accept first. That's right, have no choice in the matter.
Yes.
Okay, voice, we have a first and we have a second. Can we have a voice vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Congratulations, Trustee Sanchez.
Thank you.
We also have 10.6 appointment representative to the Santa Cruz County Board of Associations, SCUSBA. The board will appoint a representative to the Santa Cruz County School Board Association. We'll take nominations.
I want Larson because he like goes solving.
So you nominate.
I'll nominate. Yeah, that's.
Student trustee nominate. Any others? Then can we have a motion to appoint?
I motion to appoint.
I go ahead. I will second. And can we have a voice vote of all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Same. Congratulations, Trustee Larson.
Thank you.
All right, we 10.7 appointment to representative to the Association of California County Board of Education, ACCBE. Board will appoint. We are taking nominations. Anybody like to make a nomination for representative of this board association?
I'll probably nominate someone who's interested.
Anybody that is interested in.
If I may speak, I've done it during the 6 months we've had the appointment. I know this was an organization Abel was interested in, our past president was interested in. I don't know if he'd be welcoming of a nomination for ACCBE.
Yeah, I would be open to that for sure.
I'd like to move that we appoint Abel Sanchez.
All right,
Stacy.
Stacy. All right, all those in favor of appointing Trustee Sanchez? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion passes. Excellent. All right, so the next is establishment of our regular meetings of the board. The board will discuss the selection of day and month and time for our regularly scheduled board meetings. We are currently.
We do have public comment on this issue.
Oh, we do, okay. Do you want to do that now? Okay. All right, we have public comment on the board meetings.
I'll be super brief. This is just because I'm selfish. I want to advocate for the 5:30 time. It allows me time to get off of work Of course, if you don't know, I do work for the County Office of Education, but I am here on my own time, just like a lot of things I volunteer for. And having that little bit of time to readjust, get home and come here so I can be present is really helpful. I can say that easy because I don't have to stay up super late like you guys do sometimes, but I do appreciate how accessible that you guys make yourself. Thank you.
Is there any other comments by trustees on this? Yes.
I would like to suggest that we continue with the 5:30 start. I'm an oldster on the board. I don't always adapt easily. I think it's very appropriate. This will be my last year on the board. And a lot of the problems that I have heard of getting people to step forward to either run for the board or be appointed to the board is due to time constraints and ability to get here from work or family. And so I really endorse this. So.
I'm personally 5:30 is great for me. I did want to just check with staff, the superintendent. Just because your staff has to stay later and longer, and I just wanted to ask the ramifications of that.
I think that, you know, generally speaking, it would be more convenient for staff who are presenting, who are working. At the same time, I think that's the most important thing is accessibility, and that's having that is really fundamental to our mission. And so I would say that even, you know, for the staff that sometimes have to remain later, and, you know, that sometimes could mean a long day. It's also a long day for all of you. And so, you know, I really think that this is something that should be up to the board, and we would support either of those. I do believe that if our mission is to be accessible to our community, a later time makes that more so.
To that statement, just as a point of, I thank you for bringing that up, trustee Larson, because I had the same concern. And we've been doing the 5:30 for about a year. Have we seen any changes in attendance, whether it's virtually, online? Because the whole point was access. So I'm just curious to see if there's been any change from that perspective, because you're the one that sees it virtually at least.
Yes, President Williams, I wouldn't be prepared to give you a statement on how much that's changed or improved from last year and years previous. So sorry, I don't have that.
Not at all.
Just based off what we see in the audience.
Yes.
I did want to bring up something I brought up before, and I understand the complexity, so I'm not saying we have to do this, but to me, as a county board, it has occurred to me sometimes it might be increasing our accessibility and our presence to meet perhaps in Pajaro Valley sometimes, or in Soquel or Aptos. I know technically that would be challenging given the whole setup that we have here. The Watsonville City Hall though is quite well equipped, as an idea. So I just want to throw that out there, maybe to do sometime with enough time to plan it. So, and maybe they're connected with some questions that we're looking at anyway. I just, you know, we're countywide, and I recall that when we bought this building, there was some discontent around the county about how north oriented it was. So to me, this is all the more reason for us to be constantly thinking about where we can go to be accessible.
I would agree that at least having maybe set one meeting in advance, just at least to have an exploratory discussion about what that would look like and what it would entail, but certainly maybe putting it on a future agenda item to discuss how that might look.
And to clarify, this is also just establishment
Yes,
of the
the date.
dates and the time. So if there's any location change, we have enough time to do that. And we're only bound within our county.
Sorry. Okay, do we have any more comments regarding this?
I just wanted to address your comment and Sue's comment that as a new trustee, the time start at 5:30 was an important factor in my ability to take on this position. So I do think at least for case of one, it improved accessibility. And maybe it will be a draw and that was a surprise, I didn't know that this was your last year, that you weren't ready
I'm
again,
looking-
so. So here we go, we're recruits.
To make it.
I think the 5:30 helps with that, so I think that's a good point.
Wonderful. Okay, do we have a motion either way to either keep or change? Unless our student trustee has comments?
I move approve.
All right,
I'll second.
all right, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor of maintaining our current calendar listed on screen, I'll say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. Thank you. What did he say?
If one clarification we should have asked before, I know last year we did the second and fourth Thursdays of June. This year we're doing the third, our regular meeting, and we're adding the fourth is what I've noticed. So that's the.
Yes,
We still need the 2 meetings.
we still need the 2 June meetings, and I've shared the calendar with, our business folks and our student programs folks, so they are aware of those 2 Thursdays, and it, I think works better for their budget and LCAP development to have it later.
I'd like to just say one other thing, that, in memory of Rose Gillichet, she is pleased wherever she is about this time. Thank you.
All right, so we're moving on to item 10.9, appointments to committees. And we have both the committees in our board packets, and showing on our screen here are the committees and the current trustees that are in each of these committees. So we'll just go one by one, and trustees can either say, you want to remain or you change, we also need to make sure that, I believe it's no more than 3 trustees on a particular committee. Our student trustees are welcome to join any committees, and they are not counted in that quorum number. So the first one is our agenda committee, which is typically the board president and the board vice president. So Trustee Larson, you're good with that? Excellent. Is there anyone else that would like to join the agenda committee? Is open. Okay. Is this a vote, or we can do that after?
As a president, you'll have the authority to appoint people to these committees.
I don't mind getting people. Okay, so I'm appointing both myself and Vice President Larson. We'll go and move on to the budget. Our current committee is Trustee Kyle, Larson, Roth, and student trustee Martinez. I am open to maintaining and appointing those same individuals, same trustees to the budget committee if they are willing to accept. Trustee Kyle?
Yes, I'd like to make an announcement that if anyone wants to be on a committee that I am on, I will step down, just because I will be going, and if you want to get your feet wet. So.
Thank you for that, Trustee Roth. Appreciate that.
And where I'm struggling a little bit is I'm picking up the committee, so I was thinking maybe I should drop one of the other 2. And I'm torn a little bit, thinking continuity, with Stacy being new, Sue leaving, Leanne leaving, maybe I should stay on budget. But I also would like to do a lot more on community outreach and legislative, so I'm torn.
If you would like to drop one of the 2, I would really like to see you still on the budget. You have a very keen eye for those numbers. If that is acceptable. We have the community outreach and legislative committee is definitely a fun one to be a part of involvement.
Maybe what I'd like to do, and I think it's up to the committee, but maybe I'll stay on both, but I'll drop off from being chair of the community outreach and legislative in just a minute.
Sure. Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay. All right, so we're talking with just the budget right now, so Larson, are you keen to keep it? And trustee Roth, and for the duration?
Yes,
Wonderful, thank you so much.
but I can be pushed.
And student trustee Martinez is not here, so we'll check in later. Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you. We have a budget committee. Our policy committee, we currently have trustee Val Allen, myself, student trustee Martinez, and student trustee Amor. There's lots of work to do, and I feel like we've got some good momentum. I would like to remain on the policy committee. Van Allen, with your experience, I would appreciate your continuance. Wonderful. And we'll check in with student trustee Martinez when we can. Student trustee Moore, would you like to continue on?
I would like to say.
Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, we have our policy committee. The next is our charter schools committee, which is chaired by trustee Sanchez. And I would love for trustee Sanchez to continue on. He's got significant experience there. I haven't been able to do much in there, so I still want to stay on that committee just to kind of get a full scope of what that looks like through the process, but trustee
Yes,
Sanchez.
that works. Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful. Also trustee Roth, you are have been on that committee as well and have experience with the whole cycle of it. Would you consider staying on?
Yes, again, if someone really wants it, it's okay.
Okay, all right. And let's see here. Okay, so we've got our charter schools committee, our community outreach and legislative committee. We have trustee Kyle, trustee Larson, and trustee Van Allen, and both student trustees. You guys got some good momentum there too. If you were willing, would you like to continue on? That's fine.
We'll wrangle up.
All right. And student trustee Moore?
I would like to say.
Wonderful. Okay. Excellent. We have let's see here, we have some other committees, but before we go forward, trustee Acosta, I am not seeing your name. So is there a particular committee that feels appealing?
Well, there are a few, but I kind of was waiting to see if there's an opportunity.
There's definitely.
Drop if you want.
No, I don't want anybody to drop. I think that, I, the charter school committee, the community outreach, I really don't want anybody to drop. I mean, I just, there's an opportunity to step in somewhere, or if you guys wanna.
I think.
If there's something you feel that there may be, I can fit
Yeah.
in or
Well,
help or.
We have room on the policy committee, and we also have, if you were interested in the community outreach and legislative committee, trustee Larson had been open to dropping one of them.
You're okay with that, I'd like to be part of that, yeah. Policy committee, I could do both.
Okay, excellent. All right, we will add trustee Acosta to both the charter school committee and the community outreach legislative committee.
Wait, no.
Sorry, the policy, oh, my mistake, perfect.
Yes.
So the policy committee and the community outreach legislative,
And correct, dropping Larson from committee.
correct.
Okay.
All right, and we also have some ad hocs, but we'll address those at a later time.
Item 10.9.6
Six.
are just other committees. As a president, you can create committees as you see
Yeah.
fit. So if there's any.
There is none
Okay.
at the moment, so we'll bypass that. Is there any comments from the trustees about any of the committees, or everybody's good? Excellent. All right, great, thank you so much. All right, we've got our board, we've got our committees. Congratulations, everyone. At this point, we're going to move to item 11, our student trustee reports. Trustee Amor.
Okay, so because I'm a full-time student, on top of being a trustee, this past week, cause I've been really busy because it's the end of the semester and it's finals and all that stuff. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to do a lot of public stuff, but instead, I will tell you what it's like being part of our alternate education programs. And so, yep. Um. Basically, I go to school at El Nido, and the thing about El Nido is it's mainly primarily focused on credit recovery. So a lot of people who are missing like a bunch of high school credits, they go there and we do like college courses and stuff to earn extra credits. The cool thing about a college credit is it earns you 3.3 times the high school credits. So every semester our class does one career class together. So this semester we did Latinx ethnic studies, and that was pretty cool. And I by myself, because I have my license and a car, and because I like need a faster pace environment, I've also been able to take multiple other classes that were on the Aptos campus. So I'll tell you a bit about that. This past semester, I took Intro to Psychology, Contemporary Social Problems, and Bio 4 Human Anatomy Lab and Lecture. My favorite one was definitely Bio 4 because I got to dissect a sheep heart and brain, and I also got to dissect a sheep eye, and we studied with a cadaver, so that was really cool. I am currently trying to get all my prerequisites done for nursing school while I'm in high school because pre-college. And I am very proud to announce that yesterday we got the grades out and I got all A's. Semester, I am planning on doing the EMT course, and then also I want to do a lot of classes, so I need to figure out who I need to like convince to let me do over credits, like extra credits. But I want to take statistics of behavioral science, which is a prerequisite for nursing, and then I want to take Chem 30, which is chemistry for medical stuff, and then I need that to take Bio 5 and 6, which is microbiology and also physiology. And those are all prerequisites. And then I also want to take English C1000, and my class is doing a money management. So those are my plans. For the EMT class, I actually today was able to do a 6-hour training. So now I am CPR, basic life support, and first aid certified.
That's nice.
And also one thing that a few students that I have been talking to would like to bring up to the board is that we wish for a dress code change, just because we like, and the students kind of see our current dress code as restrictive, excessive, outdated, and kind of sexist. So I think that there's definitely improvements to be made, and our current dress code is very different from other public schools dress codes. It is definitely more conservative-ish, like, oh, you can't have spaghetti straps, and it seems like, oh, we're kind of being like, oh, we're hiding your body because it's distracting, and that just doesn't seem right. So I would like to talk to you guys about changing some of them.
Thank you, Trustee Moore. I'm so thrilled with all of your excitement and your thirst for knowledge. It's amazing. I wish I had that kind of energy to take all the classes. It makes me want to go back to high school. Not, but just in the fact of just being re-exposed to all those amazing classes that you're taking. So congratulations on all of your A's. And I guess it's really good idea that you're back on our policy committee. So that's wonderful. Thank you for your report. At this time, we're going to item number 12, our consent agenda. Before we take any motions, I just wanted to see with the trustees if there are any comments regarding our consent agenda.
Certainly use of certain technical terms, but other than that, I very distracted.
I was impressed by the list of donations for the spelling bees. But just wonderful community support. So I just wanted to thank the community for that.
Good point.
And we hope everybody goes and patrons those businesses,
Yes.
right? Right. All right, can we take a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Hi.
Yes.
All those in favor? Those opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes to approve the consent agenda. Alrighty. Don't have any correspondence? Lisa? Anything other than what's on our board package?
No additional correspondence.
I do believe that you received a communication from me about SB 707.
Oh.
Is that accurate? Did you receive an email?
I haven't. When was that?
I believe that was sent to the superintendent.
I apologize.
You will be receiving.
And so you'll be receiving some correspondence very shortly. Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to item 15, reports, discussions, and presentations. And we're gonna go straight to 15.2 with our sponsors, Dr. Ferris Levine.
Yes, it's my pleasure to welcome a wonderful team of folks. We're going to be speaking to you about our initiative to center wellness. And this really actually came from a request from trustee files specifically. As we continue to be aware of the magnitude of the mental health crisis that our youth are experiencing, we recognize and we've continued to take very seriously the effort to ensure that our schools are offering students a wide variety of services. And so we've brought together a stellar team of folks who you've seen before, who are going to be talking about the progress that we've made in increasing access to behavioral health services in our schools and across our county, as well as specifically talking about the wellness centers that have been opened up in many of our schools. And so I'd like to welcome Dr. Michael Peener, Haley Newman, and Lauren Fine. As you know, Dr. Peener is our Executive Director of Student Support Services. Haley Newman is our School Climate and Wellness Manager, and Lauren Fine is our Director of Behavioral Health. This team has been doing amazing things to make access to behavioral health services available across our county, and really grateful for them to be here to provide this presentation today. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Sabat. I was gonna say quick hellos, but you have our names and titles, and he just told you, so we'll just wave at you maybe, and we'll talk to you here in the order of myself, then Haley, and then Lauren. I also am in a transition period where I can either see you or my notes, and so I may be doing a lot of this. The next slide, if we may go to that one. Oh, well, thank you. I'll do it. I know that the topic and Ferris's intro really spoke at a very large level about student supports in general, and we do a lot of things. Some things we don't have in our notes or slides is that, our department is about 90% grant funded, which probably covers sometimes up to 36 grants at a time, some very small, some very big. And so we become expert at braiding. And sometimes we joke that we're the everything but the kitchen sink department, right? Oh, it's not alt ed, it's not ed services, not business, I think student support services, it can live here, census, whatever it is. But this is just a quick snapshot for you to get an idea and orientation that, obviously we are one of the departments in the student programs division. And some of the more sort of prominent, ongoing, large, we have initiatives, but also programs are Students in Transitions, which is what we call the advocacy of students experiencing homelessness. Foster Ed, which is our localized name of Foster Youth Services. It is a state-run grant and mandate. Companion Project, I think we've come and spoken to you about that. That's our navigation for behavioral health and some direct support team that we created under some state grants. And then TUPE, which is pretty well known, tobacco use prevention under the state tax. And SARB is another thing that we run that other than PV in Santa Cruz City, we run Student Intensive Review Board for all other chronically truant and absent students. And the big initiatives, number one, Wellness Center, which will be our focus today. And so, again, we're not going to go deep on all these. We're going to try to hit 10 or 12 minutes and some Q&A, but I want you to get the context. And so you can see that PBIS, the schooling fee schedule will come up last with Lauren. And another one you may not be as aware of, Enhanced Care Management, as another ongoing new revenue stream we're trying to bring. It's outside of the normal grant advance or the sort of localized funding for schools. And then in general, maybe we'll go to the, we'll get to myself. I think I should go the other way. This is what Pharisee put the big green button, so people like me will probably know what to do. So, actually, I didn't know what I think. Oh no, sorry. Well, I'm gonna skip my own slide for a second. Another piece of this, which we're not gonna go into tonight at depth, but Ferris, myself, and his team have done a lot of work on what we're coining as the ecosystem of care, which we chose to use that word, which actually came out of a Breaking Barriers white paper on integrating systems of care, especially around behavioral health for students, especially system involved. And I show you this because there's really two whys that I think bring us here. And I kind of want to wrap up on this in the previous slide, which is, I think it was one day a few years ago in Ferris's office where we put up a little grid and we said, you know, in an ideal world, every school site would optimize the community support in terms of behavioral health access and services and dollars and resources using county like behavioral health or government agencies resources, community behavioral organizations, CBOs, like Encompass, PDPSA, FQHCs, the federally qualified health centers, like Santa Cruz Community Health and Salud. And then obviously schools, internal staff, right, that we hire ourselves. This one has 5, which is private practice, and that was one of, I think, Lauren's brainchild, saying that's a really untapped resource. How do we pull them into? But the idea is every school site based on location will be able to optimize 30% of this, 20 of this, 10 of that, 15 of this. And so that is still one of our North Star visions. And that's why I show you this, which also is a bit of a tenet of the community schools grants, not to be confused with alt ed community schools or court schools, but where you have these pillars optimizing community, leveraging resources and leveraging their skills and staff. So that's another just big piece we'll probably come back to at some point, assuming we make some good progress on this ecosystem. And the last thing I want to say before I hand it over is, this is our latest 2 questions from the latest California Healthy Kids Survey response. And as you know, this is really one of our only indicators or tools for the entire county. All other districts use individual, sometimes metrics or tools, and so they can have different results for their own district, but county-wide, we use CHICS. I purposely, I put in dataportal.santacruz.org, a plug, because it's an amazing site that was created by Ferris and Miguel and Jason and others. It's what I use to go grab this info. There's a 10-year arc. I only pulled 2 questions from just last year, and it says 2025. Really, the questions wound up around just before Christmas a year ago, and or early January when they cleaned up a little bit. So it's about a year old, but I was still struck because I know it's small print, but the best case scenario was, and this is where I put my glasses back on. In the 3rd category, I think it says 8%. There's about the sample size was about 1,000 kids. And so that means 80 kids seriously considered attempting suicide from this sample about a year ago across the county. And then the other one I noticed in the 2 middle columns, it was about 250 students. If you look at the number, not the percent. And that was, did you feel so sad for up to 2 weeks, right? Which is one of the diagnostic criteria for major depression. And if you flip this, which I didn't show you guys here, but there's 3 other questions that we often use, which are on a campus, is there an adult, and 3 separate questions that you feel notices you. One is that listens to you, one is that cares for you. And those ranges were 20-40%, there is not. Across all grade levels, and one of the grade levels is non-traditional, which is more the alt ed type setting.
I could just add a clarifying, so you'll see that there's grade levels at the bottom, that goes to about 7th graders, 9th graders, 11th graders. And NT, those are students that don't have, it's usually non-traditional grades, which many of our alternative education programs are in that category. And so you'll see that that number is higher for those non-traditional, and this is countywide data.
Countywide, I did not dissect by individual district yet, or just alt ed. I just share this with you because our 2 whys, I think, are like the vision. I should have this elevator speech better, but the vision of the ecosystem of care is that every student in school would be able to access resources for behavioral health, not having to think about anything about insurance, qualification. They would get the dosage and level of acuity they need for the duration they need without any barriers. That is like the vision. And so again, we'll come back and tell you how far we make it on that vision. But I want to leave it there because I'm already over my time. And the core here is we've done a lot of work. One of these initiatives is the wellness centers at comprehensive high schools. And so I want to let Haley Newman, who has been our sort of sharp edge of the spear on this, go into that piece of it. Okay.
On the sharp edge, we're gonna do this. Okay.
Loving sharp edge.
So based on this ecosystem of care, one of the things that we did for Santa Cruz County Office of Ed is utilize wellness centers as the hub to begin this ecosystem of care at our different campuses and districts across Santa Cruz County. And so the first thing that I wanted to show you, just because we do have some new trustees on the board, is our timeline. And so we started this process and we really embarked on this mission to support the development of wellness centers in our county in 2022. And so in 2022, we started visioning what this can look like and we started building capacity. One of the actions during this time was to hire me, which at the time I was the school climate and wellness coordinator and have done similar work in Maury County and Salinas. And so bringing in some of that expertise to build capacity for this to happen. We also explored different models of wellness centers, knowing that each of our districts are so unique. So it's not a one size fit all for one type of wellness center model. We also developed a roadmap. And so here you can see kind of a screenshot of that roadmap that we were so proud of and are due for an update now that we have implemented wellness centers in our county. And then in 2023, we really started communicating this vision to our community. One way we did this is doing a roundtable, which was exactly where you are seated with Congressman Jimmy Panetta. And so part of that was we were trying to obtain and pursue funding sources to help support our districts have a great foundation to start their wellness center planning and implementation. And so at this time, we were able to obtain a what's called a congressional earmark grant. And then we were also able to obtain a grant from the CDE from their Project Caldwell group, which we are still working with through 2028. So we're really excited about that. And then we started our first cohort. Our original vision was to start 2 schools at a time. And then once we got going with the first 2 others joined and said, hey, wait about us. Like, what about us? And so we ended up 4 schools in our first cohort, which is really exciting. And so then in 2024, we started with those first 4 schools planning and implementation sessions that were done by our team at the COE, as well as a wellness center consultant from Swell Schools. So that is the logo for one of our wellness center consultants. This cohort, we still meet twice a month. We still offer consistent training, and it's really structured to make sure that folks feel supported. This is also the time where our district started hiring folks or identifying folks at their district to support the planning and implementation of their wellness center. In 2025, we were so excited. We had our first ribbon cutting. And so we were able to expand the efforts of the wellness center. We had ribbon cuttings for 1 school and 2 others. Aptos High School already had a really robust system, and so we just supported with expanding what they already had. And then we started our second cohort. And so we're working with 2 more schools this year to soft open or soft launch their wellness centers this spring. And so we're really excited about that. And the last thing that happened this year is we had our first countywide wellness center tour, which I get to show you pictures on now. So on December 4th, we had our very first wellness center tour in Santa Cruz County, which was a huge milestone in our wellness center journey. And so our team consisted of COE folks from our department, Student Support Services, from Fiscal, and then also our superintendent joined on our wellness center tour. We also had the folks from our Project Caldwell team, and they included folks from the California Department of Education, the Department of the DHCS, and then UC San Francisco, which are our evaluators for our Project Caldwell grant. And so we visited here. You can see a group picture outside of Aptos High School. So that's down the stairs from their wellness center. In the center, Jody Mulder, who is the wellness coordinator at Scotts Valley High School, showed us the different coping skills students utilize when they take a brain break. And then in the furthest right picture, we're at the Harbor High School Wellness Center. where Gary Resendiz, who is the mental health specialist and wellness coordinator, walked us through what services are provided there. In addition, we biannually do a wellness tour in Marin County, and so we have close ties to that. Our wellness center consultant also supports San Francisco, Marin, other counties up there implementing wellness centers. And so it's really nice for our new cohort to see functioning wellness centers in real time. So we end up seeing 5 different high school wellness centers in multiple districts so that they can take ideas with them as they plan their own wellness centers. So this is also a way we set them up for success. And so you can see on the furthest left, we had a really great team join us. We had folks from Santa Cruz High School, which has been our cohort number 2. We had folks from Soquel High School, Aptos High School, and then also San Lorenzo Valley High School, which is in our second cohort. And so here is the timeline and who is open right now. And so you can see here that we have 4 different high schools open and operational. We have 2 high schools that are in our newest cohort, and their soft opening date is in spring, which is really exciting because we have been working on those planning and implementation sessions this past year. So at the end of this school year, we will have 6 wellness centers open out of our 8 comprehensive high schools, which I think is a really amazing feat in this short amount of time, which is about 3 years. So we're really excited, and this is really encompassing that vision of having an open door to wellness so any student can walk in. It is also helping with destigmatizing mental health because of the amount that's being pushed into the school culture. And it's shifting the school culture into wellness in really great ways. And so we can see the beginnings of that ecosystem of care starting from the ground and also knowing that there's more to come from our team. And so I'm going to now hand it over to Lauren to talk a little bit about how we're going to help sustain this work.
Thank you, Haley. Too fast. All right, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the sustainability of this. So Haley mentioned the original grants that were used to build the infrastructure, the physical spaces, as well as support staff, one of the 2 staff positions for 2 years. Coinciding with this, really awesome, is that the state has an initiative called the School-Linked Multi-Payer Fee Schedule, which allows schools to bill for insurance to provide services to students. And so the title, while it's very clunky, actually says it all. So school-linked means that the services have to either happen at a school or the referral has to start at the school. Multi-payer, in this instance, payer means the insurance company. It means it doesn't matter what insurance you have, you're covered. And fee schedule is just a term to mean a set of procedure codes and rates. And so the states negotiate these rates across all insurance companies. And so that independent of what insurance you have, your students can get served. And so we as a COE are supporting the LEAs in implementing the fee schedule. And we're doing it not just for wellness center staff, but for all of the mental health providers at the staff and schools. So they can leverage those funds to support these new positions. So that's just really high level. I've presented on this in the past and can again, but it could be its own presentation. So we're just going to open it up to questions now on wellness centers.
I'll start. I have a couple of questions. First, thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you, Trustee Kyle, for bringing it up. 2-part question. Based upon the stats that you shared earlier on, showing 7th graders and their mental health at that stage is frightening, and it's sadly not surprising. So with that, is there, I know we're still getting our high schools set up, but is there a plan for our middle schools? Because unfortunately that is starting so much younger, sadly, but is there a plan and how far out that looks?
Yeah. Actually, Dr. Small, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know that we have a plan, as we have a very structured, detailed, comprehensive, like thousands of hours, high school plan. I know in our original conversations, our roadmap, our vision, there was discussion about where to start. And we had chosen, I think this is an age-old debate, prevention versus intervention, right? Do you start upstream or do you start downstream, right? It's the whole classic thing. I'm pulling people out of the river. Maybe you go up and see where they're falling in, right? So we decided for better or for worse, to start with high school intervention downstream, if you will. And the idea was that we got funding for 6 of the 8. We're still trying to hope that we can do all 8. As you well know, this is not the optimal moment fiscally for schools to be expanding in this area with their own budgets. So, it's landed at a hard time to ask them to do more without us bringing resources. Having said all that, I know for a fact there is, especially like in Pajaro Valley, there are middle school. This brings up a separate issue, but there are middle school wellness centers, like Cesar Chavez comes to mind immediately, that is as robust almost as what we're creating at the high school. Another thing that came up in our discussion was some people call the term wellness center, sometimes mean there's a beanbag in the corner and you can go chill there versus this robust 2 people clinical services, multi-tiered, right? So we've been trying to identify, when we say wellness center, we mean this. So I think both those are unfinished, if you will, explorations. But I do think everyone we've talked to at the district level says, oh my God, this is great. How do we, ideally, middle school and then elementary school, basically every school. And they might look different, of course, on the different grade levels. And I would say, again, I'm looking to the boss here, but I would say, and the team, right, that puts in hundreds of hours, I would say we are in some ways, I don't want to jinx myself, but in some ways we're coming to a landing of this vision that we had that probably will end up taking 5 years to get the funding, implement, sustain, okay, you guys are good, it's working, high schools. I don't see us stopping. And so really it's a matter of willingness on the district side. Can we continue this multi-payer fee schedule? Can that produce enough money to maybe generate some revenue? Can we find more grants? Can we get buy-in? Can this kind of rough patch we're in, maybe it passes a little bit? So we don't, to be fair, we don't have a plan written out, but I see us in the next year or 2 almost completing this phase. And I think then the next natural question is, okay, well then how do we scale or expand?
If I could add to that, so I think it's important to note that that because a school doesn't have a wellness center doesn't mean that mental health and behavioral health services aren't available. And so the wellness center brings a certain collection of services that really are very impactful. But the services are available for students throughout, and you heard early in the presentation that we're partnering with all these different types of agencies that are providing different services. The federally qualified health centers, they have counselors and mental health folks that are coming in. We work with organizations like Encompass and Pajaro Valley Prevention Student Assistance. These are nonprofit agencies that provide services. We have a great collaboration with the county behavioral health, and they also provide mostly higher tier services for students who are really struggling. And so those services are available for students at all ages, including students younger than those who are in kindergarten. And so really what this team has been doing is identifying different ways we can expand the capacity, bring down funding, and create that ability for that kind of no wrong door approach where we can get you service. A student is identified, whether the parent, whether the student self-identifies, whether a staff member feels like the student could use some help, or preventative type work where all students are learning about social emotional learning and learning skills for them to be able to self-regulate and be able to also develop agency for themselves. This is a comprehensive, all hands on deck approach. The wellness centers is one important piece of that, and it is located, and I think we don't want to in any way diminish what those wellness centers are bringing to students. But this approach and all of these different kind of folks that are coming together to provide these services, we're having a meaningful impact. And I say we, the school community, is having a meaningful impact on wellness for students of all ages. And that's what a lot of the work that has been happening. The one example of that is being able to make that more financially sustainable, especially when we're looking at potential cuts and decreased enrollment in our schools.
And I forgot we even titled the slide this, but this actually helps because wellness centers, right, you just saw, but our larger vision is schools as centers of wellness, which might mean that the elementary, the middle school looks a little different, but yet the same impact or result is achieved. Yeah, that's it. Please.
I have many questions. I'm
Okay.
very interested. My first question is, what kind of services are provided
At the wellness centers or just generally like?
at the wellness centers?
Yeah. Do you want to take that one?
Sure.
Okay. Let's have other speakers.
Yeah, great question. So at a wellness center, it offers tier one, so what do all students get? So a lot of that is health education, it is helping to explore like social emotional coping skills and activities for students. So it's really educating the school community. So that's tier one. It might be bringing in workshop speakers on certain health or mental health topics. And also it is an additional safe place with an additional safe adults for all students. For tier two, services that might be offered, and again, like Superintendent Sabah and then also Dr. Painter mentioned, it could be a community partner. It could be someone else that we have a partnership with that is in the wellness center, or it could be school staff that are offering groups. So those could be kinds of services. It could be behavioral or social emotional groups that are being offered in the wellness center. Some of the wellness centers also have brain breaks, which is where students are maybe dysregulated or in emotional distress in class, able to come and take a 10-minute brain break, practice a coping skill, and then go back to class. And that is more of a tier two support so that they're able to go back into the learning environment. And then tier three are really those individualized supports. So whether they are connected to a mental health specialist, whether it's a counselor, whether it is a community partner, so offering those types of support in the wellness center.
One of my questions about the groups, I know we have a lot of students that are struggling with substance use. Do we have any substance use groups? Because I feel like that would be very helpful. And also, if we were to have those groups, I think it would be very important to keep this sort of confidentiality there.
I'm gonna let Lauren answer that just because we just happen to have two big mapping meetings of substance use disorder services in the county at Central Avance. The meeting took place, so.
Yeah, so we recently did a training on BEI, which stands for brief intervention, where we invited counselors across the county to come to learn about this. It's a brief motivational interview training that specializes on substance use and is really geared toward in school. And so that would be on the wellness centers. We tried to get as many folks in, that was through our TUPE grant. And so that's one piece. And then separately at the COE, that's really an area of focus for us. There's a differentiation of what's happening at districts and then what at the COE we can provide. And so at various districts, I can't speak to the exact way that they're navigating SUDS treatment, but I can say here at the COE, that's a focus for us in the new year. Just as early as January, we have an intern and we're building a potential contract to build more robust services within the COE that then would support districts.
Cool. I know there's like a group sort of insurance model. Would students without insurance be able to get services?
Yeah, so as we lead this consortium for the fee schedule and kind of hold this leadership, we believe that best practice is that all students should get served regardless of what their insurance status is. And so that's the energy or the vibe that we bring forth when we work with the districts. And I think all districts have aligned to that vision as well. We don't want the money to lead the services, but that the collection of insurance and reimbursement is an opportunity to build and keep current services and maybe build. So we don't want the money to get ahead of the actual intention, which is for, having schools be able to collect insurance really creates a lot more equity in what services look like. And we don't want any student to not have access to that based on what their insurance is.
Okay, cool. I know we're talking about like funds to support it. We could probably do like fundraisers, right? If we're like, oh my God, where's the money gonna come from? So would that be possible for us to do fundraisers, like community fundraisers for it?
I mean, I don't see why not. If you all want to create a board subcommittee and we can get fundraising, I think we're always open to any ideas how to really strengthen this. So I appreciate open ideas. The team would love to figure things like that out.
Okay, another thing is, I know this is like mainly for mental health, but I think a lot of things that are like attributed to mental health are like. Kind of physical health, like I know for our unhealth students, like I think it'd be really important that we provide like hygiene materials. And I also know that period poverty is like a really big thing, so I personally believe that it's very important that we offer free menstrual products. So is that a possibility and are we doing that?
Yes, so as part of our wellness center training, we talk about 4 pillars of the wellness center that's a little more comprehensive than mental health. So we talk about mental health, physical health, sexual health, and then substance misuse or use. And so part of the training is that every wellness center has what's called a care cart, and they have hygiene products on there. They have tampons, pads, things like that on there. Also because a student might know that a wellness center has a hairband, and then that's how they enter a wellness center. And so it's also getting students in the door to help destigmatize what that space is.
I'll just say too, Ashley, back to the visioning. The original, the ultimate, if money was not an object, we would have health centers on school campuses that would include behavioral health, because we've learned along the way that often symptoms may show up in a physical health manifestation that really then get cross-referred to behavioral health. Sometimes the reverse as well, but more often it's that people feel more comfortable going to their physical health practitioner and almost start talking about behavioral stuff, and then they get a referral over. That would be the ultimate vision if we could pull that off, just so you know. But I think what Haley has described is sort of the best we come up with right now.
Would it be possible to get like therapy groups together? Cause I feel like that would be amazing.
What was it?
Therapy does.
That would give a
Okay.
lot of students.
You trying to melt my heart, so no, they joke because we went to Marin the first time. They a typical aspect of a wellness center is to have your pictures of all the staff, and one of them had all the dogs at the bottom, and I was like, oh my God, I love dogs. Dogs are my primary therapy, so I'm just saying that's why they melt my heart. Not kidding, my goal is to research this and see if that's possible, and it clearly is possible technically because Marin does it right now. So we have not manifested that in Santa Cruz, but it is on the list, 100%.
Thank you, student board. Great questions. Brought out some great information. Thank you so much. Since trustee Kyle brought forth this, do you have any questions or follow-up?
I do. I have a few. I'm gonna start by piggybacking on Ash's questions and ask about, so in the tier 1 supports, I'm wondering what student input you collect to inform those offerings.
Yeah, great question. So when a school is planning to have a wellness center, a huge part of it is engaging their educational partners, students being a important and like vital piece of that. The aesthetic of the wellness center and what is in there is really driven by student input, because we're trying to create a student space that students will come to, not an adult design space hoping students will come. And so a lot of the design and what's in there and what students really like is based on student input. Also, every wellness center has a student arm. And so every wellness center has a student wellness committee or a wellness advisory council for students who are interested in mental health and wellness or general wellness, and driving the efforts or interests of the students. So there's been student input at every level of the wellness center planning and implementation. At several of the ribbon cuttings, there's also students in there holding ribbon or helping navigate us through the wellness center. So it's really embedded in that way.
And how much engagement are you seeing? So is walking through the doors.
Oh, okay. So exciting. We are, I think the whole thing's exciting, so I'm just gonna start. So we're starting to get preliminary data from the wellness centers. So wellness centers, we have been training them on what data to collect as far as usage, as far as effectiveness. And so they count how many students go to a outreach event in the quad. They count how many students come to a workshop. They count how many students walk into the door and either refer themselves or refer a friend, and then how many services that they're providing. So we're still getting that preliminary data, and we are helping to support the schools to calculate that on their own to present to their own school boards as part of their presentations. So a lot of that will be coming up soon. And we're still streamlining the data collection, but all of them have a way to collect data right now.
That's great. I look forward to learning more about that, the data merge.
And I just want to say on the data side, you saw one of the tours we did was with UCSF, because they are the evaluator for CalWell, which is a grant CDE applied for, that we were sub-grantees, if you will, in a competitive process for all counties in California, and Santa Cruz County and Stanislaus County were chosen as two COEs to accompany CDE in this CalWell grant, which we are focusing and using those dollars in student support services as wellness center funding. And I know you're a grant nerd as well, right, quote unquote. So both that grant and the congressional earmark grant that Jimmy Pineda was able to secure for us ended up becoming SAMHSA grants. So technically, they're both federal SAMHSA grants at their root. But that was a long, long way to say, we will be getting a very official, data-driven, huge report from the CalWell side about our effort because of that inclusion.
And then really my last question, my request for this presentation came out of the staffing incident at Watsonville High School. PV High School and Watsonville are not on this list, nor in the second cohort. So what is their status? What do we have going on there? Please.
I kind of figured actually this question out right. And just so you know, we're working extremely closely. Currently, it's Peggy Pugh as the Executive Director of Student Support Services in PVUSD, Ben Slider, who's a school climate coordinator, who's been there a long time. The short version, the simplest answer, because there's more complexity, but the simplest answer is PVUSD got literally, well, I won't go into their funding because you know that better than me, but there are millions available for all of their school sites except the Aptos region. So they get large amounts of money because of the student population and the socioeconomic status, but it's different in the Aptos region. And so we approached them and we were willing to do any school in Pajaro Valley, but they said where their gap in funding and resources is actually in Aptos. And even though it may, politically not appear optimal, that's actually where their gap was. And so they directed us to Aptos because they are working on wellness spaces or centers, at least in one other high school, and we're in discussion about a second school in Pajaro Valley, but they haven't determined where it will be yet. And that will be the final two, or final really one, I guess, that we're trying to secure. So I don't know if we have more.
But just to clarify, so again, it's in the same way that a wellness center doesn't mean there aren't other services. Pajaro Valley was really ahead of the curve because of all the additional funding that they got during the pandemic, and invested heavily in behavioral health services. And so in many ways, the other districts were kind of playing catch up, but we were able to secure funding. We did approach the Pajaro Valley Unified School District, as we did with all the districts, and asked for support, and they shared that they already had funding, as Michael is sharing, for Watsonville and Pajaro Valley, and they do have programming there and services there, wellness spaces that they've developed. And we're continuing to partner with them to look at different ways that they can address the cuts to funding that we're hearing about in the news right now. And so the landscape is changing, of course, with the expiration of those funds that were available. We believe that the billing component that we've been working on is going to be something that can help mitigate some of those losses in funding. But we also recognize that we're entering a new phase, specifically with PVSD, but with all our districts, and that's why this idea of building capacity and not being only grant reliant all the time, because that's not a long-term sustainable plan, is something that we've been working on so closely. But PVSD, they continue to have great partnerships with the community-based organizations, and they've been messaging that they're looking to rely on those community-based organizations as their as the deliverers of behavioral health services moving forward to a higher extent than they have in the past.
Interesting, Kyle. The only analogy I'll make is the large community school grant in York County had a cutoff of the socioeconomic unduplicated count of students. And so really something like $35 million came to this county, and like 33 or 34 million went to Pajaro Valley, right? And there's a couple outliers, and Court has one, and maybe Live Oak, there's just a couple others that weren't Pajaro Valley School District. And in, of that, like 33, 34 million for community schools, it went to basically every school except their Aptos schools. And so there is this differentiation that happens when they get large sums of money or supportive services where sometimes they have to divide and conquer how to equitably distribute. And so this is one of their ways to differentiate the funding and try to make, at least from the outside, everyone's getting something, even though the strands may be from different places.
If I could add one more thing, just in relation to the incident that took place at Watsonville High School. We are working in collaboration with Lucia Law from our safety directors, working with Peggy Pugh, who is the executive director of student services, to look at a variety of different forums to help replicate some of like our BOSTA program here, which addresses different kind of violence in our schools. And so we're supporting them with that effort as well.
Any other questions, Trustee?
Given the hour, I just want to say thank you for the referral and the presentation. It was great. I loved Harbor High School really cutting last year. We'll look forward to one or two more this spring. Thank you.
I just want to give a shout out to Greg on Stuff the Bus. He was there till the end at the bottom of the building, sweat, piles of backpacks, and so thank you for helping our department that way too.
Any other questions, comments?
Good work.
Thank you so much. Great report. Thank you for all the work that you're doing with our students. Thank you. Yeah. We are getting to item 15.3, our first interim financial reports. Again.
Thank you very much. I did once again take the liberty of preparing a student-friendly version of tonight's presentation, so I'd like to distribute that at this time, please. I have a few extras if you need that, Steve, that's person. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to present to you your first interim financial statement for the 25-26 fiscal year.
Is this your last interim? This is the last person's term for.
No, that's. I'm saying I'm gonna read it for myself, so you never know. One of my favorite quotes from my grandfather, "Bad weed is hard to kill," which means I probably will be around for a while, so. I just want you to come and listen in. Yes. There we go. I would be remiss if I didn't issue a very special thank you to our internal business services team, Natia Ambrosi, Tara Lee, Shay Placencia, Brooke Rosso, and of course, Michelle Kennedy and Melissa Lopez for assisting in preparing this information we're about to review this evening. So thank you very much, Team Internal Finance. So today's topics, we will be going over our budget and reporting processes, an overview of the 25-26 first interim report, key differences between our 25-26 adopted budget and our first interim numbers, our multi-year projections, what's next, and any recommendations. This is the graphic I shared with you last time. I really liked it, so I thought I'd bring it back again. Here we are in December, and we are at the point where we will be reviewing our first interim report. It is important to note that generally speaking, your audit report would be also presented at this meeting. However, with the federal addendum not having been approved in a timely fashion, many districts, including ourselves, had to request an extension from the CDE, of which we have received, but we're quite confident that our auditing team, Ms. Samantha Moore, will be presenting to you early in February. They plan to have our audit wrapped up by then. So that one's going to be falling out of cycle. Very unusual for us, not our fault. First interim is an opportunity for the COA to make any adjustments to our budget based on actual year-to-date spending, trending, and any or any new information that might have come to light. And it's a way to try to project where we think we might be at the end of the fiscal year. So at this point, any programs that might have had carryover, all those amounts have now been reflected and calculated and are included in our budget, as well as any deferred revenue that we may have received in the prior but not had yet earned. That's also now reflected in the budget. As always, it's important to keep in mind this is a snapshot in time, and it will most likely be changing, probably already has since we talked to our committee yesterday about it. So that's where we are in our schedule. Each interim reporting period is given a classification that must be certified by our county superintendent. And those classifications are a positive, qualified, or negative certification, indicating that if you're positive, you will be able to meet your financial obligations for the current 2 subsequent years. Qualified means that you may not meet your financial obligations in the current or 2 subsequent years. And a negative is assigned to entities that will be unable to meet their financial obligations. We, of course, will be, yay! Here we go, yay! Filing a positive certification at the 25-26 first interim, and that signifies then that we can meet our financial obligations for the current and 2 subsequent fiscal years, and that we will have a positive ending cash and fund balance in the County School Service Fund 01 at the end of fiscal year 27-28, and a 5% reserve and positive ending cash balances in all of our COE funds. So moving into a summary of some of the key updates that impacted our budget cycle at this time, we have the reversal of the deeply dreaded fair market value adjustment for unrealized gains recorded in 24-25 during our unaudited actuals, which totaled $517,000. Any of the 24-25 unearned revenue and carryover budgets, as I mentioned earlier, have now been recorded and included in our budget. We, as you recall and know, we budget very conservatively. And in that regard, our LCFF revenue, which was based on an updated and reliable unduplicated or UPP, unduplicated pupil percentage, came in at 67.63%. And as you know, and our committee is aware, we usually budget right around that, just below 50, because anything over 50 then could trigger additional funding for us. But we hate to anticipate that because our alternative education programs are really based on what the demographic is of our students that attend, and that can vary over the years. So we always go conservative and wait until the real numbers come in on that one. So looking at this slide, this is our county school service fund, and it's the combined totals. In other words, it's our unrestricted and restricted budgets combined together for all of Fund 1. So the important thing to look at here is in column A, that was our original or our adopted budget. And the estimated, I want to have you drop down to where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th line down where it says beginning fund balance. So when we adopted our budget, as you know, we haven't closed our books yet, right? That's based on the best thing we know in the May timeframe, really. And so at the time that we put our budget together, we estimated that we were going to have a beginning fund balance for this year or an ending fund balance for last year of $42.5 million. So when you come across and you look at first interim, you can see that when we actually closed the books, we came in a combined total again of $48.7 million. And that's really important to keep that in your mind as we kind of look through the math on some of these numbers, because we don't really talk a lot at this interval about the change in beginning balance, but we most definitely talked to you about it when we reviewed our unaudited actuals. So if you have questions on that, I think I forgot. I have short timers, but you can definitely go back to your packets and or reach out to Melissa if you need more data on that. But we did already talk about that. I just kind of wanted to remind you all about that one, and that's an important point. So if you wanted to follow along in your board packet on your devices, we are currently on page 136. If you look at Form 01I, it's page 18. I know it's a little hard to read our form numbers because of the numbering system that came out from the, it went right on top of our form numbers, so I think you may have to rely on page numbers this time. But in any event, that is the summary of unrestricted and restricted budgets. Again, as a reminder on how to read those forms, our original adopted budget is shown in column A. So that would be as July 1. Our first interim amounts are found in column D, and the difference between those two periods is shown in column E. So looking again at a glance, you can see when we looked at our original budget, we had a total revenue of $74 million, almost $81 million of expenses and transfers out, which generated a combined deficit of $6.7 million. Moving over into our first interim column, our total revenue and transfers in increased to $77.6 million, or an increase of almost $3.5 million. Our expenses also increased to $82.7 million. So that was an increase of 1.7. And then our deficit actually changed. It went down from 6.7 combined down to about $5 million combined, or a change of 1.6 million. So the math on that again is, and don't forget our beginning fund balance change. So if you try to math that out and you're like, I'm off, it's because of that silly beginning fund balance issue. The components of all these ending fund balances, the majority there you can see our restricted fund balance at first interim is $17.8 million. And our assigned ending fund balance is about almost $26 million. A detailed listing of all of our assignments can be found on page 137 of your board packet. And that lists everything out line by line for you. So let's move into the really important piece of our budget. It's all important, but this part's especially so when we look at our unrestricted budget. The unrestricted budget is kind of more of our operational budget. Reminder, our restricted budget comes with strings. So money in, money out. You don't really have any discretion with that money, but over here on this side of the budget, we do have some discretion. So we're in your board packet around page 119. Again, the original adopted budget amounts are shown in column A. That part still follows through. So you can, by looking at this information, you can see that our revenues and transfers in changed by a net amount of $765,000 between our adopted budget and our first interim. We went from 33.5 million up to 34.3. Our total expenses and transfers out, we had planned 37.4. We're currently at 38.5, or a $1.1 million difference. Unrestricted adopted was a deficit of 3.8 million. We are currently projecting a $4.2 million deficit, or a increase of deficit of $377,000. So that brings our ending unrestricted fund balance to a projection of $25.8 million. Again, factoring in those changes in beginning fund balance. Adopted thought we were going to be at 28. We closed the books. We came in actually at 30. So again, that's why the math looks funky, Leanne, and you're right, it is funky because of that change. In our restricted budget, I usually go fairly quickly on this, as I mentioned, money in, money out. We did originally at our adopted budget project a deficit of $2.8 million in our restricted budget. That has declined at first interim down to $830,000 deficit. So that's an improvement of approximately $2 million. Our estimated beginning fund balance had been 13.8. We actually closed at 18.6, or an improvement of almost $5 million. And our ending fund balance, as you can see, are at $17.8 million, of which 100% of those funds are restricted. So let's get into the assumptions that we have for our multi-year projections. Negotiations, so all of our units settled for 25-26, and all those costs of the agreements are included in our budgets. Step and column for our certificate and classified staff are calculated in at a 1.3 and 1.2% respectively. Our STRS rate of 19.1 for the current 2 subsequent years, that remains flat and is controlled by the legislature. Our PERS rates, we currently are using a 26.81 per guidance. For the current year, 26.9 for the second year, and 27.8 for the third year out. Our health and welfare estimated employers increase, I want to emphasize that part, is at 7% each year. And that did decline from the prior years. We talked about in our budget committee because of a negotiated temporary increase we had with our unions that was reset back to base in the current fiscal year. We adjusted and removed all of our one-time revenues and expenditures in subsequent years. So that's why I know it sometimes looks scary. You're like, oh my gosh, is our federal money is going away? And yes, it is, but that amazing program that you just heard so many amazing things about. And again, I hate going after these guys. Could you change them? Next person. They have such amazing things to talk about. But all the millions of dollars that came in for those programs to get them the seed money per se, that's coming to an end now. So we're kind of falling back down to like normal levels, and our norms are actually not so great either due to HR1 and the current flavor that we're getting at Washington DC right now as it pertains to educating our students. The other thing that I'd like to have you keep in mind is that our cost of living adjustment assumptions, we do have connected in your packet or included, I'm sorry, is the common message. And the common message guidance has indicated in our assumptions page as well to use a higher COLA. We like to be really conservative here. This year we decided to go with what the actual was for 25-26 since it's in the books, as they say, but our out years we're going with a very conservative 1% increase. As those, as the data matures and as we start falling into those fiscal years, then we will adjust to whatever the actual COLA is. And, you know, I love this next slide. I especially love Jake the dog because he's as confused as I am all the time when we try to figure out what's the COLA really gonna be. I mean, we might as well go to Vegas and put it over on 29 black, right? It's really hard to predict. And this is one of my favorite charts because it can show you how you can start off with a really modest number like we did in 24-25, 3.5%. And unbelievably, it drops all the way down to a little over 1%. And imagine had you budgeted at that higher amount, and then all of a sudden you're like, ruh-roh, you know, like Jake the dog over there, like what happened? But on the flip side of the coin, we had some crazy years where our COLA went through the roof at like an 8%, and we thought it was gonna come in at a 2%. So it's really important. I particularly love this slide. I think it's really helpful in helping boards understand why we budget and use the assumptions that we do use, because sometimes it's just really, really hard to know what's going to happen with our economy and the state of California and who's running our federal government. All right, our funded ADA assumptions. We've got your 4-year look here. The first column in orange, that's our actuals from the prior year. We've got conservative assessments, or rather a forecast for our alternative ed average daily attendance that's funded again. We're hovering and keeping in mind also declining enrollment at 896 for the current year, and then a slight decline in the out years of down to 866 and 850. Again, knowing that those numbers could be adjusted upwards. Special education, always a surprise. So we just go flat with that number. It's not a huge number, so the impact of any volatility in that number is not as devastating to us as other factors may be. The career advancement charter, thank you, Greg, for the amazing question. Great question you asked yesterday about their funding and how their funding not at 100% right now, but more like 85%. That's really an important thing to be aware of, because when you look at their numbers, you can see in 27-28, they jump up to 235 funded ADA versus right now, because we're only at 200. And the reason for that is that's when their new funding determination comes in. And we're working really hard with that program to ensure that they get back out of that 85% funded range and more into the 100% range. And so this is not a statement as far as declining enrollment, but rather how the state chose to fund that program. Okay. What you have in front of you now is our unrestricted 3-year, multi-year projection. Now that you know about the assumptions that we use to put these numbers together for you. If you'd like to follow along, we're on page 222 of the board packet. Our first interim amounts are in column A now on this one. Second year is in column C. That ties back to your financial reports. And then that third column, of course, is our 27-28. As you can see, looking at this slide, and it's not really different when you think about how we always project this. Our total revenues and transfers in are trending downward. And that's a majority reason for that is because of the declining enrollment. Bear in mind, we're not just funded on our programs, we're funded on what's going on in the whole county too. And so as you see declining enrollment in these large numbers out of Pajaro Valley, for example, one of the leaders as far as decline is concerned, it impacts our funding base as well. It's one of the factors that goes into that. So we always use a downward trend when putting together those estimates for future enrollment and ADA. Our total expenses and transfers out also are trending downward slightly. We have been trying and working to keep our deficit at the current year. As I mentioned earlier, we're at 4.2 million, approximately 4 million in 26-27, and approximately 3.8 million in 27-28. Also keeping in mind that lower ADA and using that ultra conservative COLA number gives us, I feel, a comfortable number that can only move upward. I always want to tell my board, we did better than we thought, then we did horrible. With keeping that balance of not overshooting or undershooting either, I feel like we're in a nice sweet spot with how we put these numbers together. And then we also see some of our expenses declining net because of ongoing note costs. Those would be going up. But we also know that we had some current year projections that include some larger one-time costs, which we're going to be discussing that in a few slides. We're going to talk a little bit deeper about the deficit in just a second. Our 3-year restricted multi-year projection shows that again, most of our revenue decline that you see here is attributable to our grant funds that are expiring. In 26-27 also, you can see like, wow, that's a big number that changed there on our deficit. And part of the reason for that is there is an assumption that we may be purchasing our 119 West Beach Street facility in that fiscal year. And that purchase price is included in that $7 million number for the funds that we have set aside in our restricted budget. So be scared, but not too scared because we got it covered. Yeah. So that's again, like kind of a big change, but it's not all deficit spending is bad. I talked back with our committee yesterday on the phone. That would be a really great thing if we end up being in a position that we decide to move forward with that. So lastly, we have here our combined multi-year projections. Again, everything you just saw on the first 2 slides all wrapped up together. We're looking at ending fund balances of approximately $43.6 million in the current year, combined 26-27, $32 million, and 27-28, just under $25 million. So very healthy Fund 1 only ending fund balances. I say Fund 1 only because the next slide is just a quick overview. We do maintain our Special Reserve Fund 17. Our projections for the estimated ending fund balances in that Special Reserve Fund are $3.7, $3.8, and $3.9 million throughout the 3-year period. In 25-26 year, our unaudited actuals will get settled up. That's what we do as part of the closing process to ensure the 5% fund balance that we are maintaining per board resolution is met. And this amount is 100% designated as a reserve for economic uncertainties. So you may recall that when we ended fiscal 24-25, our reserve actually came in at just over 5%, 5.2%. So I did want to talk about the deficit just a little bit, because it can make you really nervous if you don't really understand it. And I don't want y'all to be nervous. I want you to feel cozy and safe, and you're wearing a warm blanket right now. At least not a scratchy blanket. So we felt that we wanted to take a moment and just take a pulse on our deficit spending. Us business folks like to do that once in a while and make sure we're in the right ballpark, to ensure that we're not entering into a phase that's known as a structural deficit, okay? And so we just wanted to outline for you on this slide some of the factors that are contributing to our current estimated deficit, and just also explain to you why Melissa and I are always wiping the sweat off our eyebrow when we do these presentations for you. And this will hopefully help you not stay awake tonight. You too, Ferris. I hope it doesn't. You can sleep well tonight. So here we go. Our deficit that we're showing right now is $4.2 million. But if you look and if you back out from that deficit, the known one-time or short-term expenditures that we've had this year, it starts to like not feel as scary. For example, we know that we've had to furnish and buy equipment for the new facility at 119 West Beach Street that we have coming in at about $400,000. We know that we approved to have the math initiative that the Santa Cruz County was purchased and was sponsoring and assisting in raising our math scores across the county. That's $300,000. So money well invested. Money well invested. She's good. She's my wingman. Yeah. Yeah. I love you, Marcia. She's gonna miss me. I know I miss her. We all agreed that Second Harvest was a really important thing for us to do this year. And so we put out a $270,000 to the Second Harvest program so that families wouldn't go hungry as their SNAP benefits were delayed, and people still needed to put food in their tummy. So that was a really important thing that we agreed to do. We came up with $122,000 to help Encompass out with their Head Start program. Again, a really important thing that we needed to do that aligns with what our mission is as K-12 educators. We also talked, and I think our last board meeting, about the need to replace our board furniture up here that's chipping and peeling and catching people's expensive sweaters on. So we will be replacing this old, I mean, how old is this, Ferris? It's boy, probably when they bought the building.
How much?
$1 million.
There's a slip, wasn't even. Yes. Cute theme song. Yeah, I think you probably weren't even born yet, so. So we need, we set aside $100,000 and you're aware of that money as well. And then also there was a replacement of furniture required at our alt ed sites, $85,000 one time out of pocket. And then the lease for West Beach Street, and I have that as the short-term expenditure because right now it's $200,000. But if we pull the trigger and end up buying the building, then that's a one-time thing that I consider one time now because I'm hoping it goes away. So those little guys add up to about $1.4 million. So when you back those one-time things that are sizable, there's other small things, right? That are sizable out of our budget, we're now down to an adjusted deficit of $2.7 million. Now let's think a little bit further. What always happens as we progress through the fiscal year? We improve, right? We always improve. And so we may get some grants in that will help us relieve pressure on our unrestricted side and we can move dollars over there. We also know that we historically run approximately $1.5 million of purchase orders that we pull out as we get closer to the end of the year, because we know y'all aren't gonna buy that much stuff before the year closes, right? And then when we actually close our books and we book our accruals and we book our revenue that we're supposed to be getting, we book all of our accounts payables, we pick up another $1 million. So when you look at that, we're sitting at 2.7 right now. We're approximately so the way through the year, we're getting, towards that halfway mark. I have with some measure of confidence, as probably you do too, that we can pretty much assume that when we close the books on 25, 26, barring that there aren't any more one-time big scary things that come up, we will probably come out pretty flat, pretty even. I'd be really surprised if we came out with a deficit. So I know when you look at those big numbers to begin with, it's scary. And so I hope you appreciate the time we put into like trying to help you understand and feel more comfortable with what the numbers look like, because that is, of course, you are stewards over our budget and our activities. And so we really appreciate that you taking a few extra minutes just to go through that. SACS criteria and standards review. I'll quickly go through this. I think you all know the drill on this one. We do have some of the not mets. ADA always impacts revenue, and that's why those two always come together as not mets. Again, some of the not mets doesn't necessarily mean it's a scary bad thing. Criterion S5 about contributions changing. This was primarily because we had a increase to our alternative education special education program because the initial allocation that came through was lower. But we also had $160,000 supporting our Ed Services program for a new teacher project, Tier 2, Act 2, and our STEAM Expo. And so those little pieces kind of, come in and out of our contributions. The A5 about salary increases, we are also aware of that because we were able to give all units a 5%. As you recall, in the current year, we were falling behind our neighbors quite significantly and felt it important in order to attract and retain the best and most talented. We also needed to have competitive salaries. So we were trying to catch up a little on that one. So, Melissa, you added this on here. She's so tricky. The last sentence says heads up for second interim. There's gonna be a new one on A5. A8 rather, not A5, A8. And that one, but she has a sad face too. You're so funny. Change of CBO. Oh, I know. You're so funny sometimes. I love that. Yes, you'll have another one that's all my fault. This time you say we blame the person who left. That's gonna happen. So what's next? The governor's going to release a proposed 26-27 budget by January 10th. And then we're going in 2026. And those initial assumptions will be used in helping formulate not only our 26-27 budget, but also we kind of use that when we start working on our multi-year projections. We start looking at some of those assumptions as well. Our team will be attending the school services workshop on January 20th in beautiful downtown Upper Bank, Sacramento. And the old folks in the room probably got that reference. Vernie said you probably weren't part of that. Capital Advisors will be here on January 29th, and I encourage all of you to attend that. It's from 2 to 4 o'clock at our tech center. I really like that one because it really talks about the political scene of things. School service is almost more nuts and bolts, but this one's really good. They know a lot about what's going on in the governor's office. And then we will begin the process for our second interim financial report as of January 31st, and that will come to you in March. So thank you very much. If you don't have any questions. This has left the building. And I guess that's Melissa. I guess she added herself from a little bit. So thank you all. You're a wonderful, amazing board. As I stated earlier, it's been my absolute pleasure to be in your service.
Yeah. Thank you. As much as you don't want to have any questions or inquiries, I will ask the board. I'll start with Eva. Did you have any questions, clarifications before we? Hold on a second to unmute. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything? Yes.
No questions because the committee meeting yesterday answered half of them and you answered the other half. I think that's today. Yeah, I want to thank you both.
For ADA, were we talking about Americans with Disabilities Act?
No, we're talking about average daily attendance. And yeah, that's the basis of all of our funding.
From the state.
Yeah. So that's why we always encourage students to show up to school, right? Any other questions, clarifications? Oh, wonderful. Thank you again. Great. All right, moving on to new business in action, we have 16.1, and resolution 2550. Marcia.
Sorry, took it off. Thank you. So this is a resolution that you have completed in the past. It is time again for this year. It is authorizing the COE to enter into an agreement with the state of California. This is related to our Child Development Resource Center. It allows, that particular service is one in which we provide services to the county, in which we help families provide and learn their childcare options that are available to them from birth to 3 years old up to 5 years old. So this is an agreement with California Department of Social Services. It allows us to provide those continued childcare referral and development services. So it's not us engaging in childcare services directly, but letting families know in the community about the services that are available to them. And it's a very important service because it allows family to understand that if you have a child birth to 5 years old in our county, they have a wide variety of options for childcare. That could include private family providers as well as many others. So this is one that you do every year. It allows us to enter into an agreement for them. It allows the board to formally authorize participation in that local agreement for us to be a child development resource center for the state of California, and allows us to execute all of those transactions that are related to it.
Any questions, questions? Can we have a motion?
So move resolution 25-50 authorizing the COE and local agreement with the state of California.
Second. Okay.
Student trustee Omar,
Aye.
trustee Acosta,
Aye.
trustee Kyle,
Aye.
vice president Larson,
Aye.
trustee Roth,
Yes.
trustee Sanchez,
Yes.
trustee Van Allen.
Aye.
President Williams.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. 16.2, resolution 2551, Vice President Ray Thompson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. This is our annual resolution that we bring forward to celebrate all of the local school boards that do tremendous work for our students in districts, often in challenging times, and a little bit for ourselves. But mostly for the local school boards. So with that, I do have one request, and I don't know if we've done this before, but might it be possible, assuming the board approves the resolution, I don't want to be presumptuous, that a letter with the resolution we go from our new president to at least the board chairs of the other districts? Sharon?
See, why not? That's a great idea. Go ahead.
And with that, I was gonna move.
Can I make just one suggestion? I think that there was one whereas it said our local school boards acted expeditiously. Can we make that more like present tense acts? Like, is it, I imagine it was made during maybe COVID, and there's like, or is there some history to that?
Well, I don't know, but I had the same thing. My suggestion was that instead of saying our local school boards acted immediately to ensure our children's, et cetera, which I think was from COVID, and at that point it was in response to the pandemic. How about our local school boards have consistently acted to ensure our children's academic social function?
Accept that as a friendly amendment. Didn't know.
You get that?
I think mix it up then.
Then I will second.
So, and then how about add to the resolution that it be sent to the district boards?
To clarify, was that to add to the text of the resolution? Or directly?
It's the second part of the motion to request staff to prepare the language to go for that. And that also introduces our new president, the board presidents as well.
Did we do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Roll call.
Oh, we got it.
Student trustee Omar,
Aye.
trustee Acosta,
Aye.
Trustee Kyle,
Aye.
Vice President Larson,
Aye.
Trustee Roth,
Yes.
Trustee Sanchez,
Yes.
Trustee Van Allen, or President Williams.
Yes. Resolution 2551 passes. And now to the superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you so much, President Williams. Just wanted to start that you currently have before you our newest entry in our annual report. As you know, this is a requirement for county offices of education to produce an annual report. It is for the 24-25 school year. I really want to thank Nick Ibarra for all his work. Also, Reynaldo Barrios, who helped with the design. And this is definitely a labor of love that takes a lot of collecting of information from all kind of different corners of the organization, and to highlight the data, the needs in our community, different services that the County Office of Education provides, a lot of the collaboration systems and a variety of other topics. I hope you take these. We have extra copies also to share with you. So if you're ever in the community sharing information about what the County Office of Education does, you'll notice that the last year's County Board of Education is highlighted. So new members are not there. You'll be highlighted in next year's annual report. But it is definitely I think it's beautiful, and I think the team did a wonderful job, and I'm really grateful for everybody who contributed to the creation of this document. It's hard to be succinct with all the different things that we do, and at the same time, we try to be engaging. One of the things that I really appreciate about this are the QR codes. I was actually meeting with some students recently in Watsonville at the Central Avance, and they actually wanted to look up their CalKids to see if they had a CalKids account, and so they actually used a QR code to log into the CalKids website to determine whether they had that or not. Were you there, Trustee?
That was me.
It was you. It was you and Vicente that were doing that. That's right. We were actually planning for this meeting, so I'm sorry, I just remembered who I was speaking with today. So it was really a wonderful event. The idea is to make this as accessible as possible. There's also an online version that you can click on where you can actually page through the report, and we'll be distributing this. And also, we will be having our annual event, our celebratory event, a little bit later this year, where we'll be sharing the report with folks. And of course, you'll be learning more about that as we get close to the final event. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is that SB 707 is making some big changes to the Brown Act. I will be sharing this document with you, which is a summary of the changes. AB 2449 is going to sunset in the end of December, and SB 707 really replaces that. There is also things like expanding the reasons for just cause. Also, when it comes to making sure we have reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities, we have to make sure to get you a copy of the Brown Act. Also some rules about compensation reports, additional authority for the board president when it comes to disruptions online, ability to remove people from there. Social media rules, if you comment or respond online, it could constitute a serial meeting. So when a board member, let's say, makes a comment and you give them a thumbs up, and if an additional, a total of 4 members actually participate in that online conversation, you've now violated the Brown Act. And so the law really discourages any kind of interactions in the digital world when it comes to that. Some things that don't apply, it's creating a little bit of confusion. There's eligible legislative bodies like city councils have additional rules that do not apply to county boards or school district boards. And so things like having translated agendas, if you have more than 20% of your community speaking a certain language, having automatic captioning and other things do not apply to this board and to district boards. There's also a cheat sheet, which you'll be learning about, which is the need to know summary for board members. And so you'll be receiving that in your email today, and will be part of our correspondence. And please let us know if you have any additional questions. We did get a question from trustee Sanchez about my role as a county superintendent working with our business office is to review under AB 1200 the first interim, just like you reviewed the first interim for the County Office of Education. We do the same thing, and you heard that Leanne certified us or as qualified. We have one district. You have one district that has certified themselves as qualified, as you heard in the news, which is PUSD. But we wanted to share, this was a request by trustee Sanchez and so our team spends a great deal of their effort, kind of the external side of our business services, looking at the first interim, second interim reports, and of course the budgets. And you'll see that unfortunately we do have one district that was qualified in this first interim. Now our process is between now and within the next 30 days is to review that and then review and verify if we agree with all of these first interim certifications from boards across the county. And so you see an asterisk there, those are official because until we actually take a look at them, that's we put our seal of approval. And in some cases, as we did with Live Oak in the past, you'll see that there's a negative there in 23-24. They certified as qualified, and we in fact flipped them as the term is to negative because our conclusion was that their situation was, we had concerns about their ability to be able to with cash flow and
Back then, I mean, back then.
This is back in 23-24, correct? I'm sure you remember those days. And so, of course, our goal is to support all our districts to help them get to a positive position long term, and that's part of our role as and the support that we provide through our business services office. Wanted to share some community updates. We've been working hard with our partners in the community to promote the completion of childcare safety plans. There is a new law, I believe it's AB 495, which really cements the idea of having childcare safety plans for families to identify a trusted adult, such as a family member who can care for their children if they are unable to care for them. So especially for families from a mixed status background who are concerned about being detained or deported. We have been working with Community Action Board, of course, Community Bridges, which is the coalition of the Child Care Safety Plan that has been really getting the word out about getting as many families to complete the Child Care Safety Plan. In addition to that, it's not there, but helping families to sign up for Medi-Cal and also helping families to be thinking about the SNAP benefits and other benefits that they are at risk of losing. We've launched our holiday food and fun drive with Second Harvest Food Bank, and so you probably have seen the emails that have come your way about participating in that, and we would love it if you could support that effort. It's yet another way for us to support our families. And then you heard from Shalak about the computer science playgrounds. And these were 2 locations done in PVOC to promote computer science, robotics, STEM, or STEAM, and other exciting activities for students to think about kind of the joys of technology and learning. And so it was really a wonderful event. In these pictures, you'll see some pictures from those playgrounds, but also a press conference where we promoted, we collaborated with the Pajaro Valley Collaborative to promote the completion of the Child Care Safety Plan for families, again, in advocacy for our families. Wanted to share some upcoming events with you. There's going to be a retirement celebration for Leanne Reyes on January 10th. We would love for you to join us for that. More information to come if you haven't already seen it. Also, we have some exciting graduations going on in January, and we would love for you to sign up too, so that we can have representation from at least 1 or 2
more board members at those graduations. We will be participating in the Pajaro Valley Prevention Student Assistance Suit for a Cause event January 22nd. And would appreciate your participation in the governor's January budget workshop with capital advisors, which will be taking place. And some additional dates going on. This is the beginning of a lot of our competitions and activities, a lot of wonderful things that are taking place. And so we'll keep you up to date on those dates so that you can participate. And I believe that is it for my presentation. I would entertain questions.
I'm looking forward to all those activities. Anybody else? Abed, do you have anything?
Nope, no questions on my end. Thank you.
I did want to also share that I have been updating the federal updates, including a component related to school tracking any impacts on schools related to ICE activities. And we've been keeping track of every single time that there has been anything in the neighborhood of schools. There have been virtually no direct access of ICE onto school campuses, but we've added that to our federal impacts slide deck. And so that same link you'll be able to, we keep updating that on an ongoing basis. And so we'll share that link with you once again.
Excellent, thank you, Superintendent Saban. We're gonna move to the trustee reports. And I'm gonna start from Matthew with Ms.
Only one thing to report, and that was the excellent budget committee meeting, and thank you, Erica, for staying on the budget. Yeah, no, you really have something very valuable. Yeah. So.
As the president told me to.
Well, I'm confirming she made an excellent statement.
Thank you.
Let's see, Kyle.
Less busy than last month, and I promised Brandy I would speak slower this time. I'm just naturally a fast talker, so I apologize again. It's got a little busy. The first thing that was on my calendar when I looked back was I had a wonderful lunch with the student trustees. And as inspired as you were listening to Trustee Amore speak, imagine how I felt sitting with both of them for like an hour and a half. I left there just like feeling great about the world. So that was just wonderful. More recently, I attended the winter concerts of Shoreline Middle School and Harbor High School. Shoreline had many bands and choirs perform, but they also had a makers market going on outside at the same time. So it's just very festive and community based, huge attendance. And since I'm on a concert, kick, I wanted to acknowledge that the CCS honor groups were announced. And so they have 3 musical groups. The kids in middle school and high school in music programs have an opportunity to audition in the fall. It's choir, band, and orchestra. And the rosters aren't public. I've seen the high school one and I've heard of the middle school one. So I have the performance dates and times for those. I've been to a one of each before for middle school band and high school band, and the performances just knock your socks off. You just can't believe that the kids that age are performing at that level together. They all raise the bar. It's fantastic. So I can tell you there are 23 Santa Cruz County high school students that made the honor band. And it's for the whole CCS region, so that was an incredible turnout. High school band performs February 7th at 2 p.m. at the Cabrillo Visual and Performing Arts Theater, so it's right here. Middle school performs January 24th at 2 p.m. at Washington Middle School in Salinas. So the high schoolers are really lucky we don't have to go so far, but they're just, if you have a chance, attend and you will just be blown away. Thank you.
I switched over to a new computer and my trustee report was stuck in my outbox, so I won't go over it all. You'll probably get it at some point. So big thing that I did this past month was attend CSBA up in Sacramento. Great conference once again. I'll try not to highlight things that our president may mention. I attended the pre-conference seminar on the legal symposium for experienced board members. And I'd encourage board members if you go up. It was just really helpful to have those 4 breakout in-depth sessions on things that are affecting all of us. Attended a couple education, workforce, housing items. They brought in the gubernatorial and superintendent of public instruction candidates. So that was interesting. And then the closing general session was on AI. And I have materials I'll be sending to the superintendent to share with staff as appropriate from the conference. So that was again enlightening and interesting. And I'm really glad I went to that. One item that probably isn't on anybody else's list, but I want to thank Deputy Superintendent Marcia for supporting me on it, is that I was invited to a focus group by CSBA on county support during the new math curriculum adoption. And the board doesn't have a huge role in that, so I was wondering whether they were doing a focus group or board members. And it ended up being a very small focus group, just me. But it was good to hear, it was good to hear from the consultant that we certainly are best practice. So I just want to say thank you for the notes you gave me on what we've done, and really having started up the math fellowship a year ago, made it so while all these other county office of eds are now coming together, how do we do this collaboratively? It's kind of like the team, COE has already pulled together. They've gone through the forming, storming, norming, and you're 2 performing, as they use that phrase. Many other counties are just forming, and they're kind of behind where we are. They also really liked that while the showcases of the new math curriculum are being done outside of our county for the state-sponsored ones in Monterey and San Jose, so it's convenient for our districts and our staff. But that you're doing a more focused one here, they thought was a good strategy as well, because with the 43 possible curricular frameworks, that's kind of overwhelming, and getting it down to 63, getting it down to 8 or 10 just made sense. So that was just encouraging to see how strong our district is perceived out there. And then the highlight for me was the computer science education night. I was only able to attend the one at Law as I did last year, but to volunteer at that and see the engagement of the students and families was just wonderful. And the budget. I was like, I'll stop there.
I'll be real quick. So last week, I had the opportunity to attend the city council meeting. And it was really nice to see quite a few Pajaro Valley high school students show up in attendance. It was just really inspiring to see some of our future kids that, are interested in, our future, to be quite honest. And we did one of the things that occurred is the new mayor and mayor pro tem. And it was just nice to see all the students out there in attendance, so.
Just a little bit of committee work, and by the way, the policy committee, we had some scheduling issues, so we'll be back. But we weren't able to meet this month.
Finals. Sometimes it was finals.
Okay, great. So a little bit busier on the earlier part and not so much on the middle to end of the month, but attended the opening of Her Story at the Mall along with Dr. Sabah and Trustee Sanchez and Larson. It's basically a museum exhibition, recognizing the contributions of women in Santa Cruz County. And this came about, I feel like it came about really quickly. It was about 6 months ago that I got a call from former Capitola City Council, Yvette Brooks, and she said, "Hey, I got this idea." I'm like, "I'm in, let's do it." And it was really nice to see it come up so quickly. I look forward to the expansion of it. Hopefully, she just said it needs more money. So, also attended the CSBA Education Conference in Sacramento. Not much more to catch up. We went to different conferences, which is really helpful. I'm still kind of forming some of the notes that I have and some follow-up that I'd love to do. Agenda meeting, also attended an annual event, Rising at the Rio fundraiser, which supports prevention of child trafficking and survivor support. I would have loved to have seen so much more of the community there because I think it's so much more of an issue than a lot of us realize. And, you know, survivors need the support and our kids need and parents need education about what that looks like. And then what stopped me for most of the fun attendance and some of the activities that y'all are talking about is I had knee surgery, so it was down for the last couple of weeks, but obviously on the mend. Attended a couple of virtual district board meetings online, and attended the ACCDE Charter School Renewals and Appeals webinar at Trustee Sanchez. And it was basically a recap of a lot of things that we know, but some new stuff since you know, the COVID era where they just kind of said everybody's gonna get an extension and kind of thing. So that's, I think that's pretty much it. And so Trustee Sanchez.
Yes. I feel like you mentioned a lot of my list because we were in a lot of those dates. November 21st, her story, really enjoyed it. Again, it's always good to remember women and the impact that they have in our community. The agenda committee on December 4th. That was my last agenda committee. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the team as well. And December 15th, the ACCBE Charter School Renewal. It feels like the charter schools is just pushed off and extended forever. And now it's time to renew them, and there's lots of changes from then. So it'd be nice for us to get a little bit of a refresher, you know, once we do have to come to renew our own charter schools. And another one that I would like to mention, December 14th, Watsonville had Noche de Brillo. It was a community event for families, for our students, for them to go to the plaza and just have a really good time. And it was really well put. I was very impressed. City of Watsonville and the Parks Department for what they did. And then also I want to mention it because I did run into our own student trustee, Vicente Guillen Martinez. He was there, of course. I feel like he's everywhere. He must have a twin or something because I feel like he's very active in the community. And of course, he was there. He was helping and just very encouraged and made me happy to see him and his involvement in our community. And that's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Sanchez. Item 19, is there any updates or reports from any ad hoc or standing committees that haven't already been discussed? No. Okay. Scheduled meetings and upcoming events. Aside from all of the events that Dr. Swah listed, we also have our upcoming board meeting January 24th. Is our special meeting and board workshop starting at 9 a.m. So make sure you check your calendars. There's any different updates for that?
I did get an update from CSBA that we will be sending a link to you all, and I will also send reminders. January 5th, asking you all to complete the board self-evaluation. So it's first your own individual reflections. And those would be due the 12th of January, or sorry, the 19th of January. So you have about 2 weeks to complete those self-reflections so that they have enough time to prepare for the workshop on January 24th. So please do those timely. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask to see if it would include our student trustees as well.
It can. It is an optional workshop that the student trustees are invited to.
Yeah, thank you.
And my question was actually on the 24th, but because I did see, I can't remember, it's a program COE runs, maybe it's the poetry out loud?
It is the spelling bee. I know it's
Just kind of that afternoon as well, and I was given to leave at 2.
Mhm.
So I didn't know if we could look at compressing the schedule down from 3 to 2, or if we're locked in there.
The facilitator has told me that he can do this training in 3 hours, at max, he can do this at 4, yeah, so he has that understanding.
Yeah.
But I did block your whole day, just so we can.
Yeah.
Before we had scheduled this, I blocked the whole day, but yeah,
it's everything.
no, he says he can do this in 3 hours,
I think we're.
if we're chatty 4.
Yeah.
Mhm. That was on me to take your whole time. I tend to take your whole day.
Sometimes it helps.
And then, I am asking, for the board to schedule, a special board meeting as well in January, proposing January 8th for an interdistrict transfer appeal hearing we did receive this week. Unfortunately, we didn't receive it in time for it to be on this board meeting, so I'm asking for the first week of break.
Yeah. Okay.
Whichever time you all agree on, 5:30 their general time, but if you like it at a different time. Up to the board.
So we have to set that.
Before 5, I was worried it might start earlier than I.
This would be the only item on the agenda, so we could do 5:30.
So can I propose January 8th at 5:30 for a special meeting? Would that work for our trustees? Okay, I'd like to make a motion for January 8th, 5:30 for our special meeting.
And only question on the motion, do we need an opt-out for maybe the superintendent and president to cancel if the appeal doesn't materialize, or do we know it's out?
There's no need for that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Thank you all, and just to summarize, I will see you then 3 times in January, January 8th, January 15th, and then the 24th.
We look forward to it. All right, any other final comments? No? All right, with that, our meeting is adjourned.
Great meeting.
Bye, everyone.